We address you because you are citizens of Zambia, all the citizens of Zambia, and invariably residents, people who live in this country. That's the angle from which we're addressing you today. And we do address you not just as your president, no, but also as your servants. The two are somewhat distinct, depends on how you look at it. Today, we want to share with you very briefly where we are coming from, the progress that we may have achieved, and the challenges that now lie ahead of us, together as a nation. Together as a nation, we have a simple mission: single-mindedness, to work hard, to work smart, all of us in our respective roles, for one agenda only, one agenda only: to offer opportunities to all our people to better their lives. That's our agenda. In all that we do, since you put us in public office, we have a single-mindedness. And that's what I've just articulated: to work to better the lives of somebody, to create an opportunity for an additional job, just one additional job as we work, because that additional job employment will feed directly 8 family members, indirectly more. Put simply, that's the agenda. That's the agenda. Let's walk the long journey. Let's walk the long journey through a short story. Short story. This is a blessing for the rains. We must clap for the rains. God's graciousness. God is good, and all the time. God is graciousness. This is one of the assets He's given us, but many of us take it for granted. Remember, there are countries that are deserts. They see a little bit of rain over many years, but see how blessed we are. We thank God for that. I was saying, a long story told briefly, not to compare what others did, those before us. No, but to put context, to tell the story in a manner that is easier to decipher. That's a short story. Just some headlines. Just some headlines. When you put us in office in 2021, it was a very difficult situation we were faced with as a country. We may argue who was in office, who did what, but we cannot argue about the facts that we were in a very difficult situation as a country. We were living beyond our means. We borrowed money beyond our means to service that debt. There's no contestation about that. We may argue how it came about, or who led us into there. The fact is that we had a difficult environment with regard to the debt mountain, huge debt mountain. We worked hard. We didn't say who created the debt. We worked very hard. 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years today down the road, we worked very hard. And last year we announced that we achieved a high measure of our debt restructuring, 94% plus. Many Zambians, not many, a small number of Zambians who have a knack for arguments argued that that was not true. I don't know where they were drawing their numbers from. But don't pay attention to those. Hear what they say, look into the subject, and make your conclusion based on numbers. Numbers don't lie. And 2 days ago, amongst many independent analysts, professionals, Standard & Poor's upgraded Zambia's credit rating and confirmed that Zambia was no longer a basket case, it was now a viable country to invest in. It is there. Those who argued about it, your answer lies in independent assessors. And we expect more to come. And they are known. We will not take time to repeat that. Today we stand here together as a country in a position that was untenable in 2020, 2021. After hard work, we are in a position where the country is now a meeting place. For the East, they come to talk, to do business with us. The West comes to talk, to do business with us. The Middle East, the Arab world, and the Jewish community, they meet here. We must ask ourselves a question: why is this a meeting place? It's the hard work that we undertook to do, having acknowledged the difficulties we had, which we inherited. We did not say, no, they were created by X, Y, Z, so we'll not deal with them. That's why you elected us into office. Today, we are seeing a resurgence in investments. And I want to thank all our cooperating partners, all of them, Americans, Chinese, Europeans, British, Japanese, for coming to the table to help us resolve an intractable problem. Remember, we called it a mission impossible. If there's anything we need to celebrate together as a nation, it is one of them is this one. Together, irrespective of our differences. What you're seeing today, you see it in the mining sector. Where Rwansha was dead, Rwansha is back to life. It's the effects of those efforts. And I must put it clearly that the mines were dead, by and large. Copperbelt Minister says those that were dead were not dead, were in the ICU, somewhere just by the graveyard, the likes of 28 Shaft in Rwansha. Today is back, pumping ahead of schedule, water. Very briefly, Mopani is back. KCM, intricate problems, liquidations, which are unacceptable, is now on the upward swing, producing more copper, as we intended it to be. So let me put it brownfields, old mines, which were dying, are back firing. New mines, improvements. Bimbula. Kalengwa, which was out of commission for 47 years, is back. Vamuzungu, vakulum, twasante abingimwana. Twasante. You waited for so many years. Now, there will be people employed there. Already they've started being employed. New mines, Mingomba, in partnership with the Americans. $2 billion investment. First Quantum, over $1.5 billion investment. Lumwana Super Pit, over $2 billion investment. These investments were not possible if we did not achieve debt restructuring. That's a context. That's a context. I don't want to waste time today. Today, I want to focus very soon on the elephant in the room. That which could destroy all these efforts we've made. Such as targeting 1 million metric tons of copper, knocking on the doors this year. It was not even something to talk about in 2019, 2020, it's here now. We're getting there. Towards the 3 million tons of copper. We're now talking about more jobs in the mining sector. Yes, we can do more. But let me thank the people of Zambia. I was thanking our cooperating partners, our multilateral partners, but I want to thank at this stage the people of Zambia for your trust in us, for your belief in us, for your patience. As we walk through the challenges that we inherited. So, let me touch on something else we inherited. So, I've talked about the debt situation and how we've moved it. Took the best of 4 years to be here. And I sent a message to Dr. Nakamba, my economic advisor, that I'm not happy with this rating. God made me to be an ambitious person. Please allow me to be ambitious as part of your team member. And I expect all of us to be ambitious. I said, Pamela, this rating is not good. We need to work harder to get even a higher rating. And we're capable, together with the people of Zambia. So I'm thanking you for the risk you took 2021, the support, the patience in these areas. Then I've talked of the mines, where we were, where we are now, and where we are going. I want us to use our critical minerals, copper, as what oil and gas did to the Middle East. That's the way we should see our critical minerals. That's where we are going. To better the lives of our people using these resources. And before I leave the mines, many governments grappled with how to deepen the benefits from the mining resource endowment for the people of Zambia. Starting from ZCCMIH, our company, we're increasing its shareholding, which had gone low. Give you an example, Mopani was around 20–25%. We've now renegotiated that to be 49% shareholders in Mopani and our partners 51%. As part of our deepening process, many don't see it. We see it. And we take an opportunity like this to share what we are doing to better your lives and that of your children, including the unborn ones. This is a path where walking is not easy. It's difficult. Needs one to have their mind clear. A team that have a shared vision for the country. But the point I want to make, Minister of Mines, is there. Many governments before us could not take the next step. Such as what? To legislate so that Zambian companies can have a privileged position to supply in the mining value chain. And after a long battle, to and fro, we have now managed to legislate what we call local content to allow Zambian citizens to have more opportunities in the mining sector. Take it $1 billion procurement value. Means Zambians to start with can be assured of $200 million. Correct my numbers. And graduating up to 400 when we get to 40% and beyond, $400 million. If the ticket is $2 billion, the Zambian component will be $800 million. Deliberately and by an instrument, legal instrument. This was a scary proposition for many governments before us. It is now in place. My call is for the people of Zambia to become entrepreneurs. And we have asked the mines to do what they are calling supplier development program, to train our people, not to supply air, because the mines must function. If you supply air, the mines will not produce the 3 million tons. So I want to appeal to my fellow citizens. When you are given an opportunity, please supply. Don't get an advance payment and go and buy a Mercedes-Benz. Icona, man. Icona. Supply. Create jobs. I can go on. But in summary, we want your support to see legal mining, 1, 2, safe mining, not polluting our environment, not using mercury to clean the gold, not damaging the forests. 3, formal mining. We want you to earn more money. That's why we are pushing market opportunities to buy off, especially for artisanal miners who are vulnerable. And lastly, let's not create militias in the mining areas. Don't go in that direction. Where in Eastern DRC, a 13-year-old boy keeps a gun in the house and probably has already killed 3, 4, 5 people. That's what illegal mining areas can breed. We've already seen it in Kikonge, in Mufumbwe, Kasempa and Pika. We call for your support as citizens to structure, to formalize our activities. But we have your back. These minerals are yours. Remember what I've said? We would like to do to our minerals what the Arabs have done to their oil. I hope you understand that contextualization. And we will do it together. So, what else did we inherit? We inherited COVID. Vaccination rate was 5% in 2021. I appointed COVID advisor, Professor Chilenge. And within 6 months, we took the COVID vaccinations to over 70%, even ahead of many European developed countries. So I am saying, COVID problem, we addressed it. We worked very hard together. And I want to thank the nurses out there in health centers, those who were gathering in many places, looking after our patients. Lusaka in the stadium there was one of the places. Medical staff, those who made beds, all of you, thank you very much. for saving lives. When we work together, we get things done. When we start petting around, fighting on non-issues, we lose value. Very important lesson. So, what else did we inherit? Lawlessness, street fights, in the bus stops, in the markets. Anywhere, in the compounds, intercity. If you wore any ready garment, you are an APSA worker, your corporate color is red, you didn't wear your uniform at home and go on a bus. You put it in your handbag. And then when you go, you reach the bank, you went into a toilet and changed. Because if you wore it on the bus, you were lynched. I trust Zambians have long memories. Today you can wear any color you want, green. You should be allowed to wear green. Anyone stops you from wearing green is standing in front of this fellow. And I will address this. This is the monster in the room. I trust Zambian memories. I trust them. I know some people, Zambians forget quickly. I don't think so. I think they are conscious of these issues. If you were seen in a certain way, you were plucked out of Kulima Tower and taken to Kamgodi. And there you were lynched. If you're lucky, you'll have a broken finger. If you're unlucky, your ribs are broken. This is what was going on in this country. And we stood up and said no to that. And we'll come to it shortly. This is the environment we inherited. Anyhow, violence, as you will hear what I'll say, takes us nowhere. Education. We have introduced free education, and since we did that, over 2.3 million children have come back to school across the country. Across the country. Barongovan, Banavahes, Mwevanandi. These are numbers that anyone can check. More bursaries, more meal allowances. In fact, meal allowances reintroduced for the monks and momas. What else? Hostels that were stored up are being constructed now. Accommodation. Skills training. For those that may have no opportunity to go to college, they are Zambians. Skills training. Curricula has been changed. Thank you, Minister of Education. A child who is good in plumbing must be allowed to go into plumbing early and must not be called a failure. These are the reforms. But one thing was missing. You give a child free education, exam time comes, parents have no money to pay for exams, the kid did not write exams. So why did we keep the kid in school through free education? This government says, no, we will take over exam fees as well so that we can complete the story. And that's what we've done. Are we doing enough? No. Can we do more? Yes, yes, we can do more. Very conscious of that. All the time. On all these aspects I've indicated, we can do more. The path, the walk continues. We want to rest even more. Employment. It was difficult to get a job in the public sector. But since we came in, we're even advertising for jobs. Nurses, teachers, doctors, military. Collectively, we are nearing 100,000 young people we've employed in 4 years, even with the debt burden, even with the COVID, even with many challenges. You can do your count. We have not exercised the instrument called retirement in national or public interest. We have not, deliberately. We asked the Secretary of Cabinet to actually review cases of those that were removed under that category, and a number have been brought back based on justifiable reasons. You don't have to be born in a particular province to get a job, contrary to what was obtaining before. I think that's what is injuring some people, because a select group of people had a sense of entitlement. Now we've opened up the employment book to all citizens. When we employ teachers, we make sure that there's a band for every province, a certain number, and the figures are there. I think we must be accommodative as a country and not work on exclusions. We must work on inclusions. Very important. I can smell, I can feel the venom of a small group of people who felt entitled and that others were excluded. Now we're inclusive, and that should not be a problem. That should be celebrated. We have not done a wholesale removal of what was called PF, public sector workers. Even though the PF policy was that they employ only PF members in public jobs. It is in their constitution, it's there. And you can trace that kind of employment pattern to what was in their constitution. For us, the qualification is that you are a Zambian. One Zambia? Mulelandisha, one Zambia. One nation. So when I say one nation, you must answer one people. So, natutambe na kabiri. One Zambia? One nation. One nation? One people. This group. One Zambia? One nation. One nation? One people. Truly we're one people. I must have acknowledged our cooperating partners. I see my friend, our friend from the World Bank there. I think that's him there. We acknowledge your presence and others that may be present, or someone else. I may have missed that. So, let us be inclusive. This should not be offensive. When you see other Zambians now coming into the public sector sphere, we should cherish it. We should not detest it, because Zambians are equal by the constitution document. They are equal in the eyes of God, who he made in his own image. So I smell that situation, and I invite those who don't want to see others included in their own country. So where will they work if they can't work in this country? They must go and apply for jobs in Malawi or in Zimbabwe. We have moved from exclusion to inclusions. That should be celebrated. It's very important. We must examine what I've said in our own homes. What do we discuss at dinner tables about other citizens? What do we discuss in kitchen parties? What do we discuss in weddings? Now in church, it seems the church has become a host to negative talk. How can that be in a Christian nation? I ask a question, humble question. How can the very house that should be exuding love, peace, stability, accommodation, now is becoming the house of hatred? How? We're missing something. Let's go back to use love to conquer hatred. Love will always conquer hatred. Let me indicate here that the story of our work is long. In 4 years is long, is deep, is broad. But all the little things I've indicated here, including CDF, which is availed to all the constituencies at the same time when the disbursements are made, 156 constituencies. In the past, the 1.6 million kwacha per constituency per year was not availed to certain regions of our country. That's a fact. It's there. Now, every constituency in all the 10 provinces gets a disbursement on the same day. On the same day. And see what it has done? Because of free education, my good friends in the opposition said the program is failing because there are too many pupils in school. What a position to be, to have too many pupils. How did we respond? Build more classroom space. Employ more teachers. Deliver water and sanitation. Buy desks. We're taking things for granted. And we put a policy that no desk will be imported. They are now made here. There are even stronger desks made by our artisanal students, pupils, across the country. What a delightful situation. Can we do more? Yes, we can do more. Mwewa nanti. Mwewa kalamba ba milimo. We can do more. I'm the first one to admit. I tell my wife, I'm one of the most self-critical individuals myself, and conscious because of what I've gone through. I said to my wife, we can do more. I said, please remind me every time what you think we can do more and better for the people of Zambia. Remember, our mission is simple. Work hard, smart, better the lives of the people of Zambia. One mission, single-mindedness. All of us can do that exercise. Self-examination, self-criticism. We can do more. So anyway, I was saying CDF was called a hoax. Many called it a hoax. Last time I was in Parliament, I asked the MPs, I said, I want to see one MP here, not two, just one who says CDF has not delivered in their constituents. I looked around, there was no hand. I singled out one of my greatest critics. I said, Shanu Komune, Tailebomba CDF mu constituency. He stood up and he was jumping and laughing. He said, Ilebomba echechi, Ilebomba. But I harbor no hatred. He's my critic, he knows, I know. I still reach out to him. That's my nature. Because they're entitled to a different opinion in a democracy. But we must use numbers to assess our arguments to debate. And no single MP, it's only a few months ago, put up the hand that CDF is not working. But a week later, some MP wrote and said CDF is a hoax. So why not explain how it's a hoax? Let's leave that. It's part of democracy. So let's stay the course, people of Zambia. I talked about the credit rating and thanked all of you. Let's take advantage of this situation now, where the country is attractive. And in all the transactions that we enter into, ministers, PSCs, parastatals, let's remember, how is this transaction going to help create more jobs for citizens of Zambia now that we're attracting investments? And we intended to attract investments. Let's ask ourselves that question. It doesn't need the president to remind us, private sector colleagues. I have asked the Minister of Mines, the Minister of Labor, and other ministers and the private sector colleagues to say, let's extract the number of jobs we've created since 2021. The public sector jobs are known, but I want to see more numbers from the mines, for example. Just to give you an example, Havena Kabuswe, Mopana alone, first we made sure that no worker is declared redundant in the transactions. Mopana alone has employed an additional how many people? 2,700. 2,700. No retrenchment, that's our policy. Any investor who proposed that they will retrench workers, we threw the bid out. I remember my colleagues in cabinet there, one day were not happy with me. I said, this bid, don't talk to me about it. Why? They want to declare 5,000 workers. We are here to employ, to create employment. How can a bidder tell me that they will remove 5,000 citizens on the mines who have been waiting for a revival? I said, ouch. And there was a debate. Then I ruled, I said, this debate is over. This bid is out. If they want to declare 5,000 Zambians, out. And an investor came, no redundancies, but additional 2,000. Only 2,000 for now, and more will be employed. That's what we're doing for the people, even those who are unaware. That 2,000 jobs means multiplied by family of 8, multiplied by a factor of another 10 for extended family. You know, in Africa we have what we call black tax. You pay more tax than what ZRI asks you to pay, because you pay tax to relatives. But why have we introduced free education? It's to reduce the black tax so that that tax is taken over by the government through free education, exam fees, secondary school, boarding school. I am walking a short distance of a long journey. Fellow citizens, so I was talking about us maximizing on this credit rating, on the hard work of debt restructuring. Time is now to look into growing the economy faster. As we have seen, there was a complaint about the kwacha. The kwacha is stabilizing. That complaint is not there. Zambian businesses take advantage of that. Import equipment for production. Import equipment, because it's now competitive for you. And then you pay less in kwacha because the kwacha has appreciated. But don't import VXs. Mwebanand. Import a milling plant. Import a solar panel that will give you, first, more income, and secondly, you employ people. I want to ask Zambia, this culture of eating now, let's alter that with a culture of investment, mentality of investment. Very serious issue that I'm facing, we are facing. Give me help, I want to eat now. No, I want to give you a layer, a female chicken, so it will give you chicks. If I use cattle, you say, kajema, fish leland, nkoko. Instead of buying a cock and you cook it today, buy a female bird, chicken, and a cock. Then you will have eggs you will have chicks, you will multiply. I want the culture of that to come through. We inherited a culture of consumption. Let's move denial now for certainty of food security and other needs tomorrow. Lomba, Vena Zambia. Lomba. Because all this environment that is getting better and now signed off by even international assessors and critics. Very strange environment that the international community is seeing huge opportunities in this country. Fellow citizens are seeing other things. They are talking about ulubuli. Amanga matampo kulwa. Wambi. They will send her. Mwashalafi. Filafili. Mwaikala tondolo. I am preaching about attitude change, mindset. Take the advantage that the hard work, your own hard work is produced. Ask more for investment support. Even at a small level, even at a small scale mine. How many small scale mining licenses have we given out? 1,600 to only Zambian citizens. This is only the beginning, and you are entitled to those things. These are your assets. They are not assets for anybody. When you don't have money, don't sell the license at food fair in town there. There's a place they call food fair. You give a license to a Zambian small-scale guy now, puts in a briefcase, they're eating lunch at food fair and selling the license. Find a partner. We've asked the Minister of Mines now to help you find partners to invest so that tomorrow you can be a miner. You sell the license for $50,000. If you're patient, just patient a little bit, you will make that $50,000 in a month's sales. So 12 months, 10 months, you'll be a bit more. So some of the quarrels we're having are based on a culture of the past, conflicting with what this government, your government, wants the new culture to be. That's what I see. And transition, yes, takes time, but we can do it together. There's still work ahead. A lot of work. A lot of work. The late FTJ will say, we've just started together. We can do more. One of the challenges we have, which we acknowledge, is the energy. Energy. There's no skating around. We acknowledge that challenge. There's no skating around. I was talking about the challenges we inherited, but this is a challenge that arose during our government, 2023-2024 season. Worst drought in living memory. But we promised, before I go there, what damage did it bring? Food insecurity, number one. Two, energy. Wiped out our generating capacity. We were wrongly celebrating that we were a country of green energy, hydro, but the drought came and decapitated us, took out our generating capacity. We mourned together. We said, your government said, nobody will die of hunger. And we worked very hard. And we want to thank the churches, NGOs, citizens, farmers for their patience. They lost their crop. We still asked them to grow. And we worked hard to make sure that no one died of hunger. I'm not aware of any citizen anywhere in the country who said, I buried a relative because of hunger. We took food to the depots where we bought the maize. We debated in this cabinet room, and in the end we agreed that we will take food back to where we buy it from, so people can access it close to their homes. Then we asked citizens today, don't despair, farmers, plant more. And they planted more. And 2024, 2025, this year, we have the largest yield of maize since independence. Just imagine, from a crisis into a huge opportunity. And we have different problems now. We only consume 2.7 million tons of maize, human and animal consumption. And we have to sell the excess. And I want to say to the people of Zambia, do not detest exports. That's how Singapore grew into a big economy, an island nation, exports, but only when we have assured food security domestically. So I'm happy to say to you now, we've opened new export markets now. Congo DR. Yesterday, the first train left Ndola into Lubumbashi. The train has not moved. No train has moved between Ndola and Lubumbashi for over 30 years. Yesterday or the day before, where's the Minister of Agriculture? There. I think it was the day before yesterday. A shot was sent to me of a train, Zambia Railways train, moving, taking not maize into Lubumbashi, milling meal, because it's value added. We keep the milling jobs here. From a difficult situation, threat of hunger, to a surplus within 12 months, and then to exporting. I want to assure citizens that domestic food requirements is assured. It's assured. Again, we had a lot of noise around food. But see how God loves us? And Zambian farmers responded, thank you very much to Zambian farmers. Thank you so much. And continue. Now we have an issue. Let me explain this issue. We had planned to buy 500,000 metric tons of maize from farmers. Then farmers responded. I want to even say to you here as citizens, farmers that never used to produce so much maize in northern province came on board. In Luapula province came on board. In Muchinga province came on board. You will see the transition now happening, that food security, contrary to what we were saying 50 years that Luapula, northern Muchinga cannot produce food, they are now producing food. And I'm very grateful. I think we must clap for those provinces. So we made a decision in this cabinet room. You can hold me responsible. I don't run away from challenges. I said 500,000 metric tons is too little. Farmers still have maize. Don't forget the hunger. I was telling cabinet ministers, we had to import food from Tanzania at a higher cost. The decision has been made that we must buy more, and we are buying more. We bought more. 1.6 million tons. What does that create? It creates a budget gap, because we had budgeted for 500,000 metric tons only. A good problem to have, not a bad problem. What do we do next? We say, fine, we're now working on closing the gaps and raising money. The ticket came to $11 billion, correct my numbers. $11 billion. I love my numbers. You cannot run a country without loving numbers. Then you walk this country into a ditch without knowing. Yes, you think you are doing a good job? You walk the country in a ditch. Out of $11 billion ticket, sorry, kwacha, 11.3. Ziko Mwambie, wise men from the east, Mutolo Piri, Ruben, biblical name, Ruben. So now we are putting money together. I think we are well over, close to $7 billion. $7 billion. And we want to thank the banks who we called here to work with us. And every farmer will be paid. But the fertilizer is already out there. Seed is already out there. Didn't wait for the issue we're talking about. I think we are better to buy the crop from the farmers who we encourage to grow so that they are not left vulnerable to hawkers who are paying them a lower price. So buy everything from them so it doesn't rot in their hands, to pay them a fair price. That's what we've done. That's what we've done. And I asked the farmers, thank them for their patience, asked them to say they will be paid. I put my neck on the chopping board. I put the minister's neck, our workers, public sector workers. And I'm happy to say banks are behaving in a different way now, better. We call them here, they come, and we find a solution together. It's great, isn't it? Relationship building. We are one economy, one family. I've only one thing that I'm asking the banks to do. Lower your interest rates, because the exchange rate has stabilized, the inflation is coming down. One more variable needs to move. There is what we call in economics finance the triad. The triad is the relationship between interest rates, exchange rate, and inflation rate. So inflation is coming down, the exchange rate is getting better, this one is still standing behind, and I made a call to the banks to lower their interest rates, to make credit cheaper for everybody. It's a journey we are walking, and I want to thank the banks for their positivity. What else did we experience out of the drought? Energy. Energy. I want to say to the people of Zambia, we share your concerns. We agree with your complaints. You are right to complain. Households are being affected, load-shedded. Saloons, small restaurants. This challenge was a wake-up call. I believe God decided to say, you are fragile in energy. I need to endorse a bit of drought for you so you can wake up. And I want to thank God for that, because we've woken up. And now we're working on finding a lasting solution. More solar is coming through. Not just Chisamba, you saw me going there. Mansa. Chisamba, 100 megawatts, plus another 100 megawatts, moving to 200 megawatts. Mansa, 50 megawatts. Milo. Yesterday I had a meeting with an investor in the Milo solar power station. One segment is on. They are now doing 2, 3, 4 more segments. Some outside Milo. And the investor sat with me in that office and said, HH, Zambia is where to go now. I've told my friends in London who are keeping money in the banks to move the money out of the city of London and bring it in Zambia. That is where to go now. We've got a 25-year power purchase agreement. He's already started receiving income, and his partners were saying, why are you going to Zambia? He says, I'm a proud man. In the boardroom I sit, put my hands and said, who is here to challenge me? The Zambian investment is already yielding results. And his partners say, let's put more money in Zambia. Thank you to the people of Zambia. Coal power stations, Mamba Phase 2, 300 megawatts. Another investor, United Capital Federal, 600 megawatts. The first 150 megawatts will come through in April, thereabout. Racing towards self-sufficiency and surplus in energy and in food production. I didn't tell you that. Your government is now saying 500,000 hectares will be put on irrigation. We're already working on it. I'm one of those who has moved from just being a Kachema to converting some of the Kachema stuff into crop, leading by example, and I'm irrigating. And many others are doing the same, bigger than me in crop. And we are targeting 500,000 hectares of irrigated crop. Give me your numbers. If we produce 8 tons per hectare, how much maize will we produce? in 500,000 hectares. 4 million. What is our consumption? 2.7 million. Rain or no rain, in the next 3 years, we will have food security. Rain or no rain, in the next 3 years, we will have enough energy. We've worked out our numbers. That's the path we're walking. Can we do more? Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Now, we must work together towards this target and not disrupt this momentum by pettiness, by throwing stones. You find people gathered like this, you start throwing stones on this tent. What have they done? They're discussing progress. You are throwing stones. Come in the tent. Come and check what we are doing. Ask the people here, they'll tell you, here we are doing a good thing. Come and make what they are doing in the tent better. Engage. Let me move to what I call the elephant in the room. I have just said more can be done. Solutions are there. This country must learn the lessons. Let's not do start-stop processes. By 2011, we had wiped out our debt position to less than $1 billion. I think it was $750 million. You can correct my numbers. Or just around $1 billion by 2011. By 2020, 2019, 2020, we had gotten a worse situation than ever before. What sort of people are we? Now, these things I've outlined, we need to protect them. We need to improve and do better and not regress and walk back and start all over. There's a cost to doing that, a huge cost. We've seen it. We don't need to behave like that as a country. I ask the people of Zambia, let's do an approach of a building block. Get better all the time and not slide backwards. One step forward, 2, 3 steps backwards. It costs money to clean the debt to where we are. It costs us time, costs us money. Let's not go back there. There will be a bit of pain along the way. To do the right things, there will be a bit of pain. I remember when I said to my ministers in this cabinet room that there will be no new VXs bought for you. I looked at the body language, most of them looked down. I said, you heard me. There will be no new VXs here. We will buy smaller cars, cheaper cars, other than the old ones we found. We will run them down. When they are no longer usable, we will replace them with smaller and cheaper cars. That money will shift into free education. That money will shift into meal allowances. That money will shift into change is resisted. But today we have that discussion in this cabinet room. My colleagues are saying, good decision. Good decision. Remember, we reintroduced free education before we achieved debt restructuring. How did we do it? Savings, prudence, cutting wastage, travel. Big delegations used to go to UN meetings. Big delegations, 100+ people. Small delegations now, stay shorter. When I go out, first I've cut my travel, you've seen that. After putting parameters together, I've cut my travel. And I've encouraged my team to cut their travels as well. And I send a message to all public sector workers, even parastatals. That money you're using to travel belongs to a student who needs a desk to sit on. My priority is to buy a desk than to fund perpetual travel. I go to Tanzania, Dodoma, early in the morning, I wake up 03, I'm in Dodoma, 9 hours, 20 hours I'm back in Lusaka, same day. And I know some of my delegation members complain. I know why they're complaining. I know. They were used to 5 night allowances. I corner. You want to work with this guy? Nothing of that sort. Nothing of that sort. I'm thinking of a desk for a child. I'm thinking of a scholarship, a meal allowance for a student. And that's what this country... Now, this is being resisted by a small number of people. I can see it. I can feel it. Especially those who were used to those things. I don't mean my team members. Those who were there, who used to travel. A day's job took 1 week, 10 days. If you follow what I've done now, this is the second year I've not gone to a UN General Assembly. And I made it very clear that I'm saving money. I'm saving money. And that money belongs to, should be used for a scholarship for somebody. Should be used to buy more cement for student hostels. Beautiful, isn't it? But I can see some people are resisting that. Especially those who were in that situation. They are looking forward to return so that they can continue the consumption habits and build another debt mountain. I corner. Let's reflect on our own. So this process can be painful. I acknowledge and I apologize. But it's a necessary process to build a country that will be stronger. A country that will not reverse good things as a habit. So the energy crisis is an opportunity now. Yes, we're crying, but I want to assure the people of Zambia, one of the decisions we made just a few days ago, the president decreed, you can call me anything, that every constituency will invest in 2 megawatts. Every constituency will invest in 2 megawatts. And a quick calculation there gives you 312 megawatts, if my numbers are right, Minister, isn't it? 312 megawatts. A small station that will address the needs. Let me give you an example of my home area. Nyimba. Every district is my home area. Please accept that. Nyimba in Eastern Province only consumes 1.5 megawatts of power. Why should Nyimba be load-shedded? If I may ask. 1.5 megawatts only. Now we are saying Nyimba constituents must invest in 2 megawatts. And we're working hard to get the battery power as well. That's a presidential decree. Now we've already passed the budget. I believe we passed the budget. So Minister of Finance said, Mr. President, you are in the process. So Minister of Finance said, we're already passing the budget. We cannot reverse. I said, Minister, relax. We are going to get a small portion of the CDF money, which is already in the budget, and move it to the 2 megawatts. And all of a sudden, the constituents will own a power station. Instead of consuming that money, they will now invest that money and they will get annuity income, regular income for the first time. The constituents will start earning money. And we've already arranged that they will get a 20-plus year power purchase agreement from ZESCO. And then the banks have come to leverage. We called the banks here. Even yesterday they were here, some of them. And the banks couldn't believe that out of that initiative, taking a small portion from the money that is already in the basket, we are creating over $100 million. Minister. Yeah. This should be your bread and butter. $100 million seed money, which we have decided that we cannot sit and watch this electricity problem be with us over and over. Why should Nyimba have a problem when they only consume 1.5 megawatts? Now we are racing. Let me tell you what we've done. Everybody's coming on board. The banks are coming on board. The banks are saying, we will put how much on top? 60%. Just last week we sat with the banks here, private banks. They said, Mr. President, brilliant idea. You brought $100 million on the table? Yes, we are going to add another 60% more on the table so that these power stations can be built quickly. Opportunity. Problem leading to an opportunity. It's how your mind works. And we now happily working quickly to solve this problem so that we can bring procurement quickly, and all that is needed. Procurements under the emergency and the disaster. Tomorrow someone will start throwing stones about how did you do your procurement? Why is ZESCO being involved? Who else are we going to involve if it's not ZESCO? They know the business. And ZESCO will be maintaining these power stations. And they'll be buying the power. And then Nyimba should have no load shedding in a couple of months. I am saying this so you can see the efforts we're making day and night. We're not sleeping to find solutions. We also know that if we work smarter, there's actually money inside this economy, like we've raised $100 million. But other programs will continue, they will not be affected. Critical programs. That's what we're doing. So let me move to something that is extremely important. Rule of law. That's the elephant in the room now. All these things that we are doing and what we can do, what we can achieve, can be destroyed by lawlessness, thuggery in the streets. There is father seated there. Kulima Tower, those young men are friends of mine, bus drivers, of a long time. They could not operate without their money being taken away by party thugs. Grabbed every day. There was a tax they paid to the party cadres of the time. And now we've freed them. He's there. They operate freely there. I talked about Kamugode area. I talked about intercity there. There was America 1 there, America 2. And they were kings, driving flash cars. You didn't pay a fee there, you got beaten. You were thrown out of intercity. You jumped on a bus from Winilunga, they time you, you drop there, you are lynched at intercity there. Today, people move from one location to another freely. If we do not control this menace, all these positives will be wiped out. Investments will stop coming here. Even us, locals, you the locals, how will you invest? You are doing something, you are building a chicken run, party thugs come and take over your chicken run. They take over your land. Remember, they used to cut plots. Just come, take your plot. And citizens were helpless. They were roaming, wearing military fatigue, carrying guns. It was normal. Along the way, people were attacked. Some were killed. We have not forgotten Lawrence Banda, shot dead in Kaoma by a party thug in the forehead at 10 hours in the morning. Kaoma there. In the name of a party thug operating above the law. Lawrence Banda was gunned down. We go to bury Lawrence Banda. We were lynched. Lynched. The whole of a guy like me, we were lynched there just to go and bury him. Clan Zulu. We are burying Clan Zulu there in Leopards Hill Cemetery. And the thugs of that time came and beat the hell out of everybody who was there. One of my assistants was there. He was left for the dead then. And we're touting to go back to those days. No. Joseph Kaunda, I'm called to the police for a property I owned for 20-something years, which I bought with all the documents. And I was accused of having stolen a farm. Please, I'm not a thief. You can call me many things, I'm not a thief. And Joseph Kaunda was gunned down by the Central Police Cabinet Office there. 9 hours. Gunned down. And we are now touting, returning to those days. That is not correct. A nation must not operate like that. When we won, I don't want to talk much about this issue. Me, I was a victim every week. Every time I stepped out of my house, I told my wife, I may not return. Take care of the children. That's what it was. I go to Ndola Sun FM. I had to go through the roof. I go to Moba. I was to be shot dead. I go to Chingola. The bullet grazed the door handle where I was sitting. I told my driver, turn now. I saw the guy aiming at us. Just God's way. Driver turned a little bit, took the door handle where I was sitting. That car is still at home there. It's still at home. In the name of party thugs, cadres, in the name of the party, they were above the law. In opposition, I go to Chingola, Impala, people are throwing stones, attacking the sitting head of state, the same guy they were attacking in opposition. That day, I had to shout. I saw one policeman raising a gun to shoot at a guy who was throwing stones at me. I shouted, you follow the videos, you hear my shouting. If I did not shout, there could have been 30 body bags there. There could have been dead people there. Other presidents would have basically allowed people to have been killed there. Because you try and do that to a head of state, you are killed. You are shot to be killed, not to be injured. I said, no, I will not have blood on my hands. As I stopped the UPND members to revenge, to attack those who were beating them, those who were killing them, I said, do not do it. Chiwempala said, no. I shouted, I said to the policeman, no one shoots here, no one. But you've seen other countries, how many people are being shot at? I said, no. That is the way the country must be. We will not allow any thuggery to return to our streets, to our bus stops, to our public places ever again. You try to do that, the law will be with you. You cannot use religion, hide under a church to parrot violence. You will be exposed. I assure you. The law does not recognize a particular church member. It simply recognizes you as a citizen. You can't hide behind ethnicity. This smell of ethnicity. You're spoiling our children, telling them smelly stuff. These children love each other. Don't spoil our children. You feel entitled, it's in your head. That feeling of entitlement is wrong. It's been wrong for 50+ years. You are an equal citizen, just like a citizen from Kashinakash, from Kambombo, from Chikalava, from Pamungomba. I know you don't know those places. From Sitoti, Nangwesh, from Nyengo, from Chikalava. Same citizens. Do not spoil our children. We love our children. They go to school together. Don't teach Zambians hatred and you hide in the name of a church. Don't do that. What sort of leader would you be sending your children in the streets? And mainly you don't send your children. You send other people's children to go and kill each other. Come to the dialogue table. Any issue, this State House is open, always. Come to the dialogue table. Choose dialogue more than conflict. Choose love more than hatred. You can't hide behind the church, and I mean it. And I mean it. Come to the dialogue table. You can't hide behind ethnicity. You can't hide behind regionalism, promote violence. You can't hide behind a political party. You PND members, I'm your president. I'm the one who restricted you from beating people on the 16th of August 2021 when we were declared winners. I know you would have done it. I know you know who was attacking you in the compounds. But I told you, do not do it. I don't want to have blood on my hands. I asked you then not to do it. I'm asking you now not to do it. Equally, those PF thugs that maimed people, I can see they're regrouping now. Remember, I'm Shushushu number one. I can see they're regrouping. I can see what they're talking about in social media, promoting violence. You will not be allowed to return to your habits. And Minister of Home Affairs, collect all illegal guns. That's a directive. We don't want a nation of guns. We want a nation of tools. Father Wale, I watch what you do fixing cars, fixing doors. We want more tools, spanners, not guns. Spanners must replace guns. Computers must replace tear gas canisters, which the cadres were carrying. I don't know how they were doing it. It means the system was rotten. We're fixing the system so we can create room for development. Don't hide behind any ism. You'll be exposed. Don't hide behind hatred. It's a democracy. Anyone can be a president of this country. A Namwanga, a Mambwe, a Lungu, a Nyika, a Nkoya. Anyone can be president. I see some citizens get so unsettled if someone else is head of state. It becomes a daily bread to create trouble. Why? Sense of entitlement, only you. Why you? Constitutional amendment. Why should it be a source of conflict in the streets? Why? Why? 30 plus civil society members came to say, Mr. President, we need to be heard. Can you store Bill 7? We need to be heard. They came here. And we spoke, we dialogued. I said, I think they have a point. And we stored it. Technical committee was put in place. It went around the whole country using technology as well. Everybody was submitting there. Everybody. Even those who do not agree, those who agree. People brought in new ideas. We listened to the civil society. Here. You could have gone there to submit 100 pages of disagreement. Why didn't you do that? They are in court. They are in court right now. There's a court process going on. So there's a platform of the technical committee. There's court, which is always open. You are aggrieved, go to court. I think that's a civilized way of dealing with each other. Go to court. Do not invite people's children to go and start toy in the streets and take tomatoes from a hawker who lives by selling those tomatoes, feeds their children. In the process, tomatoes will be grabbed. In the process, they will burn something. We know it in this country. We know it. In the process, a fight will ensue. Then you blame HH, who was not there. This guy is always blamed. I appreciate that. The head of state, you must be blamed. But equally, the head of state must call out things that are wrong. Now, imagine, on a day you want to toy, you want friction, you want street fights, which we stopped because the dialogue table is open. Imagine another group goes in the streets and they meet in the streets. What do you think will happen? There will be a clash there, and the investors will say, no, I can't go to Zambia. I can't go to Zambia because there's no safety there. These are the issues we're faced with now. There will be trouble there. My investment may be put on fire. That is the risk we run. So why choose that window when you have a window to go to present at the technical committee, you have a window to come, first to go to court, which you have done already, you've gone to court. You only want a potential for a fight. Kulichani mukati moja. What is the motivation? Why you want to come and break that door there, instead of breaking the door, me have said, come inside. Let's sit and talk there. Come inside. Select a team, as the civil society did. They selected a team and they came, we sat. And I was listening. I told my team, I think there's a point there. There's a good point there. Let's do it. And we've done it. So why do you want to shout outside? Because shouting, you can't hear what each one is saying. How will we reason by shouting at each other? Come inside. So I've invited colleagues. Ngenani Mukati, this is your state house. Me, I'm just working from here. But this is your state house. It's in Tulansha Nyomumine Mukati. And they've been coming here. I have letters where they've written me, the same organization, to say we need a constitutional amendment. They've been writing to me. And I have the letters. I've asked my team to pile all the letters. Same people. The question is that, why aggression now? When the door is open, it means there's a hidden agenda. You want to damage the credentials of this country, which has just come out of a serious debt trap, and more investments are coming. So you now want to reverse the gains that have been made so that you can swim in confusion the way you did before. Icona. That is the issue. That's my deduction. Any logical person will be saying, what is the agenda here? Well, you don't want to talk. Okay, let me give you a scenario. There's noise, people are toy-toying in the streets. I know one country which has a port where in that province there's always street fights, street demonstrations. One of the neighbors, near neighboring countries, a port, you know, a port, seaport, where ships pack, bring goods, take goods. That ship now, neighboring countries have moved routes. They no longer go to that ship, to that port, because there's always street fights, street demonstrations, toy every day. I'm sure you can figure out what I mean. Now they've changed the routes. That port is now having goods stuck there, because when you want to move the goods, there's a street demonstration. You don't build a country like that. My fellow citizens, you don't build a country like that. That's the surest way of destroying a country. So let's assume you go and toy in the streets, and you are lucky there's no rival group there. Because remember, the rights you have to damage others, others have the right to damage you. Self-defense. I don't want us to go that route. None of us want us to go in that route. None. Any civilized person doesn't want. So let's assume you succeed. You make the noise, you shout, you shout obscenities, you insult people. Then you drop the petition. You drop it at the gate there. Let's assume you do that. Let's follow each other. What will happen after the petition is picked? Somebody has to read it, isn't it? After reading it, somebody has to now do what? Call a meeting, isn't it? to say, okay, let's look at your item number 1. We agree. Item number 2, we disagree. At some point, you have to sit at a table, isn't it? So why not sit at the table straight? Finish fire. Sometimes you overexpose your hatred of other people. It clearly shows, hidden in a certain ism, then it's shown. One of the statements in the letter that has been written is that without a Bill of Rights, you cannot proceed with the constitutional amendment. Without the Bill of Rights. I hope you all know what the Bill of Rights is. To amend the Bill of Rights in this country, you need a referendum. A referendum was held in 2016, and the Zambians defeated it in 2016. People have short memories, and when anger overrides them, they don't even read. They just push the agenda. So, we must have the Bill of Rights. Now, the Bill of Rights, tell me when a Bill of Rights was amended in this country. Lawyers are here. A long time ago. We've been doing amendments. Then they're saying, no, we are not allowing HH and UPND to amend the Constitution. The question is why? Because there are lacunas in there. Is it the first government to amend the Constitution? No. Who else amended the Constitution? In this manner, UNIP government. UNIP government. Muzungu is here. Bakurumpe. He was there. Institutional memory. UNIP amended the Constitution. The argument is that why you amend the Constitution now? So when is the right time? What does the Constitution say? It's silent. UNIP amended the Constitution in 1991. Limbina Mulava. In the election year. 1991, in the election year. People celebrated. 1996, MMD under President Chiluba, Aka Red in Aka Black. May his soul rest in peace. Right? Yes, that man did a lot of things to turn the country from a wrong direction, in my view. I don't want to debate this. May his soul rest in peace. We don't appreciate a lot of things he did to move us downhill into a positive trajectory. 1996, the MMD and the FDJ amended the Constitution in the election year. There was no problem, no street fights. Same organizations didn't go in the streets. And the Constitution is being amended. No street fights. 2016, under PF, the Constitution was amended. Right? Election year. In January, the election was in August. They amended the Constitution. No one went in the streets. We were aggrieved as UPND. And I told my members, no one goes in the streets. Let's vote in Parliament. We voted and lost in Parliament. I never allowed our members to go in the streets. UPND, this man they don't like, for whatever reason. Right? You know, this level of hatred is shocking. Right? You can see that there's venom here. You can even touch it. There's venom here. We go to amend the Constitution using the same law, using the same Constitution, which was applied, clauses which were used before. Says, no, we don't want. The timing is wrong. But what about those other timings when it was amended? What was right? Why didn't you go in the streets? Ask yourselves a question. So you want to start conflict over nothing. Fellow citizens, let us act godly. After all, we are a Christian nation. Let us act in a godly manner. Let us not overexpose our hatred of others for crimes some of us did not commit. I know. I've come a long way myself. I know the feelings of a certain section of the people. I didn't choose where to be born. Neither did you. None of us should serve a sentence for a crime they did not commit. In 2021, one priest issued a statement. Chawamanga twachita election kuchila kuti abawambita tulefaya bakateke. Encouraging the government then to rig the election so that UPND and this president does not come into office. It's there. And this thing starts all over again. This is not fair. This is not correct. The evidential information is there. Chiriabushiku. Lupato. Fish. It's a lot of work we can achieve together. A lot of value we can achieve together. One Zambia. One nation. One nation. One people. This is the elephant in the room. We will not allow violence to return to our streets, our markets, our bus stops. No, 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 never. The law does not recognize a particular group of people only. It recognizes everybody. Let us unite this country. Let us make our children love each other. After all, they marry each other. Why are you reminding them of negatives? Love should conquer hate. Love must conquer hate. My fellow citizens, let's talk. When we have an issue, tulanshanye. Tikambisa. We'll be okay. No matter how difficult the issue is, let's talk to each other. We'll be okay. We will agree on certain issues, we will disagree on other issues, but we'll be okay. That's a more civilized way of treating each other than stroking violence in the name of other things. This State House is available anytime. It's your State House. You have seen I'm hosting more groups than most leaders before me. It's not a comparison. I'm just saying. I'm hosting more groups than many leaders did in this State House, because this is a workstation for the people of Zambia. So I want to close by saying the seeds of progress are there. Very clear. We've touched on some. We still have challenges. We shall always have challenges. Let's work together to deal with those challenges. Let's respect each other. Let's love each other. Let's maintain Zambia as a unitary state. I remember people in opposition, when I was in opposition, they were saying, Ngamwamu perabu president akashitisha chalo kubalosha banangu. Akaputula Zambia. Have I putula Zambia now? I'm firmly sending a message that this is a unitary state. Everybody knows. And nobody fragments this country. Nobody. No. Akashitisha chalo. So, mwiva nandi. Ushena mushiba market yako bashite fyalo. Nsende chalo chandi, chalo chenu. Mbike musutu kesi. Na kwela nanina nendeke. Na ndeshitisha chalo cha Zambia. Very logical, isn't it? Now they are saying that, no, he wants a third term. There's nothing like that. No, he wants to extend this term by 7 years. There's nothing like that. Nobody's talking about that. No, he wants to remove 50% plus 1. There's nothing like that. No, he wants to drop a running mate clause. There's nothing like that. So now, when there's nothing which they were cheating people, what do they resort to? Street fights. You will not be allowed to damage property. You will not be allowed to cause deaths. Personally, I could have encouraged UPND members to go in the streets in 2015. We thought we won the election. I said nobody goes in the streets. In 2016, I said no boat goes in the streets. What did we do? We went to court, and our matter was not heard. But even then, I said to my members, no boat goes in the streets. That's a principle. It's established. It's a character. Why should others now use the streets as a way of resolving issues? What if you find people in the streets who are stronger than you? Think for a moment. You go in the streets, you find others with a contrary opinion, isn't it? Since you believe the street is the solution, a place for solution, then you find a group that is stronger than you. What do you think will happen? When you start running, you say, no, no, they are attacking church people. You are the one who is, Yes, then you cry foul. You see, they don't respect the church. No, me, I'm an elder in the church. As you know, I love gospel songs. I would have given you one here today, but I will reserve it. Let's love each other. Icon. Nkani zachalo iziga? Nizikulu ngako. Colleagues, God loved us, gave us a beautiful country. Beautiful country. Love this country. I know you all love this country. We can do great things in this country. And we are on the road to doing great things in this country. No question about it, unless your eyes are warped. But if they are not warped, raise the issues, and we also invite you to help us find a solution. We don't claim to know everything. No, we don't. Collectively, we're a great nation. We're a great nation. Remember what I said. You want street fights? You find a group stronger than you there. Ninshi, Pyabipa. Let's not tempt young people. Discipline, commitment, hard work. We shall continue working and overcome our problems, including the electricity problem. We shall overcome. We will be a better nation. A nation of opportunity for all, not for some, for all. A nation of opportunity for all, not some. Thank you very much. Nataizia, Nasalifia, Natotela Mkwai, Ziko Mugambiri, Twalumba, Luitume Zahulu. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. With your permission and guidance, Your Excellency, we may take some questions from members of the press. So we'll take 3 questions from members of the press. Remember, when you come up here, tell us who you are, which media house you represent, and I would like to re-emphasize that you ask your questions or point of clarifications in line with what the President has presented here. Sabuya Nankani Zamshani, just restrict yourself to the things the President has said. Yeah, he shall. Members of the press, may I see your hands? Yes. Okay, Paul.
Thank you so much. Good morning, Mr. President.
Good morning, Paul.
My name is Paul Shingongo. I work for Prime TV. Thank you so much for addressing the elephant in the room, which is political violence. Your stance is very clear and greatly appreciated. Mr. President, allow me to drive your attention to another elephant in the room, something that you have spoken to this morning, which is load shedding. I'm glad you did touch briefly when you talked about the power stations in the constituencies. I would like to find out, Mr. President, the key interventions that the government is putting in place to address the energy crisis. And knowing too well, Mr. President, that there's only 9 months remaining before we get to the pause, I would like you to speak clearly also on the timelines, how soon some of these interventions are able to yield results. Thank you, Mr. President.
I'll take another 2. Maybe Oswald and Mukwima, you can follow each other so that then.
Good morning, Mr. President. My name is Mukwima Jilala from Millennium Radio. Mr. President, you did touch briefly on the mining sector, and in this regard on illegal mining as well as small-scale mining. But my question is, or rather I would love to bring to your attention the discovery of new minerals as well as old ones has come with great excitement from the people, the Zambian people out there. But many may feel that it may also be a time bomb if not properly handled. There are reports that the government plans to deploy military personnel to areas that are notorious as far as illegal mining is concerned. But many feel that this is an empowerment to the youth. If true, I would want to find out from you what the justification is in as far as deploying military personnel. If not, what is your government's blueprint in as far as addressing the issue of illegal mining, which is scaling into some form of lawlessness? I thank you.
Your Excellency, you may. This one.
Good afternoon, Your Excellency. My name is Oswald Kafwanka from Prime TV. One of the issues that have been brought up by the Oasis Forum and other sectors and other quarters is the issues to have a comprehensive amendment process of the Constitution, and the timeline has been brought to the fore. So my question would be, is the government willing to maybe push the Constitution amendment process to after the 2026 elections? And in that line, when we're talking about the elections, I would like to also just bring a question to you, Your Excellency. You did highlight a number of issues that you inherited as a government. So going forward after the 2026 elections, should you manage to win the elections, maybe the type of government you are going to inherit, and your key campaign promises going forward for after the 2026 elections? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Your Excellency, you may attend to the 3, then we'll take another 3. So maybe the next 3.
You are guide?
Yes,
you are
sir.
Guiding? What are you guiding?
I was going to guide that the next 3 we can get from the ladies.
No problem.
We took from the guys.
Sabuino. So I address this, or I wait for the ladies? Okay. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Now, Paul, load shedding, key interventions, timelines. I think I tried to touch on that. We have taken a different posture to this issue. We've taken it as a problem, challenging, painful, but also as, flip the coin, an opportunity to solve a problem that was going to come anyway, sooner or later. Remember, we have not been investing properly in energy, diversified energy, for over 50 years. Properly, I mean, if you talk of installed capacity of 3,600 megawatts, when the population was 10 million, that was our situation, almost, huh? almost. I understand my usage of words. And now we have 21, close to 21 million people. That alone, right? If you say this is where we are with electricity, and the drought came, we lost generating capacity. Check my hands. We lost generating capacity. So what has also compounded it, Paul, is that the economy is growing. When we target 3 million tons of copper, it means more consumption of energy. So the gap is growing. Even without the load shedding, without the drought, let's assume we were there was no drought, the gap would have started opening up because of the growth in the economy. So the very solution we want to grow the economy to create jobs is causing a problem in terms of supply. So we have to work aggressively for new generation. First, making sure that the existing installed capacity operates to the best level. I don't want to go into technical issues here. Line losses, transmission losses, all of that stuff. We're looking into all those issues. I'm only saying to you the remedies we're taking. Improving the generating capacity. I know Vic Force Power Station, for example, it's an old station, and a lot we are now looking at doing something to improve the generating capacity within the same water challenges. Just an example. I talked of transmission losses, another example. Working on that. What else? More importantly, we need to generate more power, diversified sources, mix. Solar, I've listed out a few solar projects that are going on. Chisamba phase 1, 100 megawatts, Chisamba phase 2, 100 megawatts, 200. Right? Milo in Serenge. Mansa, I talked about 50 megawatts. Ministers here. I talked about coal. But still on solar, we're encouraging homes, those who are capable, to put up their own solar at home. And because of the reforms, maybe the biggest answer, Paul, to your question is that we've pushed reforms in the energy sector to allow for independent power producers. Before, it was only ZESCO. Now we've allowed anybody, even you, even MPs, I challenge them. And I want to thank one MP for Kaumbwe MP, right? Dr. Mwanza. In Parliament, I challenge MPs, find partners, invest in energy. Everybody's welcome. All of us seated in this room. This is an area where there will be no question asked. You have money to invest in energy, do it yesterday. We're inviting everybody. And I say to parliamentarians, talk, find partners. Aaron Mwanza, who lived in China many years, good Zambian engineer. He took my challenge seriously. Last week he brought partners of his in State House here to invest in energy, in solar. Aaron Mwanza, MP for Kaumbwe, PFMP. He's not a UPND MP, PFMP. I'm giving you what your government is doing, opening up the sector, but starting with the reforms, independent producers, independent traders, open access, independent, not independent, power blending, tariff blending, and net metering, which allows individuals at your house to generate power. If you are connected, then you can sell the excess. Very important. But we know that not everybody can afford to do that, isn't it? That's why we are bringing other investments in. Then coal. I articulated Mamba Phase 2, 300 megawatts. It's on train, using an English expression. It's on train, meaning it's on schedule. President Chapo of Mozambique came, our ship is docking there, carrying our equipment to Mamba. I asked the president, personally, that's what I do myself. I get engaged on these transactions to unlock challenges. So that our ship can be given priority to dock there, and then we can pick our equipment and move it to Mamba. Those are some of the specific measures, so that Mamba stays on on course. More coal. That's the resource gave us. I don't want anyone telling me that we cannot generate electricity from coal, because that's the resource God gave us. Minister of Green Economy, don't talk to me about those issues. Tizakambe sana tikasiriza kugwira nchito kuja. Antu hafuna malaita mzambia. So, United Capital Fertilizer, as a private investor, they've come for 600 megawatts. If you check in social media, the equipment, huge equipment, is already on the move. And the first 150 megawatts out of 600, I said earlier, will be coming through maybe by April or May. So all combinations, wind, others. There are many projects. What I will do, ask the Minister of Energy to release to the public how many projects are being implemented, how many megawatts, where. And earlier in the press briefing, I told you about the constituents initiative. $100 million were put on the table. And for the first time, constituencies councils will have investments. They are used to just appropriation in aid, equalization fund, just consumption. We said, no, let's not consume all this money. Let's invest to solve the electricity problem, poor, but also for the constituencies and councils to have revenue. You see the mindset. Solve one problem, actually solve more problems. And the solutions are broader. That's what we're doing. I don't want to waste time, but if your question is important, we will get a Minister of Energy to release. Here, we are not talking about just government projects. We are talking about even private sector projects. CEC is doing a lot in Timpi 1, in Timpi 2. You saw me going there. You see a lot of me going around. I'm a hands-on president myself. Because if you sleep on duty, you may be led astray. One has to be alive 24/7. But the president is not a human being alone here. Cabinet is part of presidency. Cabinet office, central government, local government, parastatals is part of government. We're also extending that to private sector. We're one family. As I've shown you that a PFMP took the initiative, and this president is helping and facilitating so that he can invest and his Chinese partners invest in power. I challenged him in the House. I called him out. And I said, Mr. President, you called me out in Parliament. See what I've done. I said, Mwanza, wagwira nchito. Last week, here. I think we should clap for people like that. So I think the answer is that we'll pull the numbers together. After all, Minister of Energy, this must be normal information which we are releasing to the people. Because some of these questions wouldn't come, isn't it? If people had information. Let's communicate more. Normal, mundane communications. Chilala, illegal mining, small-scale mining, with the discovery of minerals, this could be a threat. Why deploy the military personnel? What other measures are you taking? I think I articulated, Chilala, this. I spent a bit of time. We are doing a geophysical, high-resolution geophysical mapping to discover what the country is sitting on. For the first time, we're having a nationwide discovery process so that we know what we're sitting on. And remember, I said we want to use our minerals to deliver value the way oil and gas delivered value for the Arabs. That's a huge message I've given there. But there will be small-scale, colleagues. What we don't want, Chilala, leave the issue of the army. What we don't want is illegal mining. That's what we don't want. Unsafe mining, number 2. Tell me, which parent has 8 boys and girls, children? Today is Tuesday. 3 of them go into those unsafe mines, and 1 dies, 2 come back. The parent says, where's your brother or sister? No, they died in the pit. Now, following day, is that parent going to allow the next 3 to go in that pit? Start from there. Your parents, would you allow your children to go down and die because they will bring kamo-kamo? They can bring kamo-kamo and go to a legal mine and mine safely, dig holes where engineers have shown them how to do it. And that's what Kabuswe is now doing, training for small-scale artisanal mines, how to mine without dying in the pits. I call that a responsible government. I don't call that a bad government. We want them to mine, get a license, 1,000 plus, give more licenses. But now we train them. I think the courses are going on. There's the Minister of Mines. Courses are going on. Those are some of the solutions, Chilara, so that our children can go there and come back to us. No normal president will allow that to happen. And when the president and government is protecting you from there, you start throwing stones. You start attacking the president. That's what it was in Twempala. It's the issue of the pit there, where 14 at one time, 14 died. The other time, 30, 40 died. That pit there. Thank you, Minister. And he and I and others went there. It was terrible. You saw me there. I even went down there, and out of 40, we retrieved one. He's still alive, eh? We retrieved one. Imagine how I felt. How would you feel? Then tomorrow you say, no, go again, so that another 40 die. What sort of leader would you be? Even those who are making statements, and fair statements, they must put themselves in my shoes. Why would you allow your children to go down and die? Let's find food for them in a manner that they will eat the food and they will not die without eating that food. And it's possible to do that through safe mining. That's what we're doing. Legal mining, licenses, safe mining, so that the Ministry of Mines and others can now be engaged. Big mines have agreed to assist small-scale miners in mining safely in the nearby areas. We're working with them. So the issue, Chilala, is not about the army or what. The issue is to have legal mining, safe mining, formal mining. 4, security must be proper there. Otherwise, you are going to have militias in Mpika there. Just wait and see. Those who are talking that language outside, they don't know what they're doing. You will have militias with heavily armed people there. And first they kill each other. You take a bit of gold today, that group knows you took some gold there. They wait for the night. In the night they come and say, bring that gold. If there's no security. You don't bring the gold, they shoot you. That's what happens in Eastern DRC. You don't know why there's fighting there. It's Minos. This is a risk we should not allow to grow. I really shouldn't say much. So the issue is that illegal mining should not be supported. Let's support our people to get legal ways of mining and safe ways. The other issue, Chila, our young people are cleaning gold using mercury. So these rivers you see very soon, in Mpika, rivers are already polluted. Now, we want that water to irrigate our crops. You can't because polluted. You are aware of the cyanometal situation. We don't want to pollute our rivers. Security is not just physical harm. It's also polluting our environment. That's what it is. That's what it is. So let's work together in this area. Let's give more licenses, Minister of Mines. Let's train more. Give more licenses, let's train more. These minerals belong to our people. Even helping them to find, but actually, by the way, in the 2025 budget, 2026, we put more money, Chilala, to support in such program. The budget has had more money allocated to support the issues we're raising here. Also, what? Comprehensive process in the constitution making process. Why not have a comprehensive process? Also, what? Why was UNIP allowed to amend the constitution? Comprehensive process talks about a new constitution. But why was UNIP allowed to amend the constitution? Why didn't this thing arise? Because at a time the nation evolves. Certain clauses may be okay, but others are not. So you limit it to that process. There was an attempt in 2016. The Bill of Rights was rejected by voters, the citizens. What did that mean? They said, no, don't touch that. That's the meaning. when you vote against something. But if a few people think they're superior to the majority, how can I deliver what those numbers of people want? If the citizens, the majority, say no. I hope Oswald we're together. Where is Oswald? I hope we're together. You followed in 2016 the holistic approach which needed to touch the Bill of Rights was rejected. The results are there. So, who am I, sir? But if you don't want Kasempa to be broken into two, Kasempa, Mufumbwe, from one corner of Mufumbwe to another is 200 kilometers, from one corner to another. The Constitution provides for delimitation every 10 years. Check your Constitution. Why shouldn't we do it? President Sata, may he so rest in peace, announced districts. Pemba, this one, Chipangali. He announced first. He did not even consult anybody. He just announced district there, district here, district there. So what did the parliament have to do? Formalize what the president announced. They had to amend the Constitution. You have forgotten. There was no street fights. What's what? The same people were there. They were even cheering. They were cheering. There were no street fights. Because you cannot have a district which has no constituents. That's the meaning. So therefore, the parliament had to ratify what the president, there was not even a technical committee. It was just a decision by decree. Presidential powers are enshrined in the Constitution. And we all had to follow. And we said to our members of parliament, vote for it. Okay, the president has already decreed. We didn't fight. Did we like it? Maybe not. But we didn't go in the streets, my friend. I want Zambians to soul search on this matter. I'm giving you facts here. Saying, no, do it after 2026. Why after 2026? Why are you suggesting after 2026? Oswald, it's us to ask you now. Why after 2026? Why? What is special after 2026? Let me remind you, my friend, the 40 million kwacha we're giving to each constituency, a large constituency like Kanchibia is getting shortchanged because we need to take account of the population and the geography. And the Constitution provides every 10 years we must assess that. So you want to go to 20 years without amending constituencies that are big. Then how do we deliver equitable development? Because those constituencies now will have 80 million kwacha. But you, in your own view, and a few friends of yours are saying no. Only do it after 2020, so that Kasempa, Kanchivia, Mufumbwe, you must think for other people who are suffering. That's what leadership is. Let me also be blunt now. Let me tell you, I didn't want to tell you this. I didn't want to tell you that. Over years, clearly there was discrimination in the delimitation of constituencies. Some provinces, huge provinces, had only very few constituencies. And no one raised the issues. Me, I look around and other people say, no, there's an anomaly here. There's an anomaly here. How can one MP service a constituency 200 kilometers by maybe 80 kilometers? How? Even if you are clever. I feel sorry for this guy. But more important, let's take resources to the people who own the resources. Let's appreciate what this government has done to take away money from the big thieves in Lusaka and take it to now the constituencies. I didn't even touch the infrastructure issues. What we found. LO 2000, whatever it was called, there were no roads done. There was nothing. And that's why we brought in the public-private partnership model, also to deliver infrastructure, Lusaka and Dola. You've seen now we are fighting over congestion in 10 miles. I'm sorry about that, but we're working hard to solve that problem, Minister of Infrastructure. But it's a temporal problem, because after that is resolved, I'm told RDA has said now in 10 days, that problem will be resolved. It's better to solve problems like that. You will have a better road there. And the government is not spending a kwacha or ngwe. It is ingenious way of doing it, public-private partnership. And Lusaka and Dollar Road was talked about for many years. I'm talking of the geocarriage. Today, it is reality. In 4 years of COVID, 4 years of drought, 4 years of debt restructuring, 4 years of cholera, we are still able to deliver things like that. Abena Zambia. Oswald. Naisana Kabiri. Why 2026 after 2026? There is something you want to do. And I'll tell you what you want. You don't want the UPND government to amend the constitution. You want someone else you are waiting for. Nibani abo mulindira, nibani. Nibani abo. They're waiting for your friends. I'm just abusing you. Also, as a journalist, he's asking the question on behalf of other people, the community. But I'm also using him just as a guinea pig, right? My friend, there's no provision to say you do it after elections. I've already demonstrated to you that UNIP did it in the election year, MMD did it in the election year, PF did it in the election year, only UPND you don't want to do it. Is that not segregation? Is that not discrimination? You are hiding behind this issue to deliver the real issues you are concerned about. The real issues you are concerned about, you don't want certain citizens to be in the presidency. You only want a certain group. Takwaba ifyo. Bunanga, no, not bunanga. No, Hashem. I want to say this is quarrelsome, being quarrelsome. What should I say? I want to use Bem. Abu? Bunka kwa? If you're feeling. So, Oswald, thank you for your question. I think you are asking the question for other people. I appreciate your question. I'm not trying to put you on the spot, my dear friend. Appreciate your question. But really, comprehensive, I've answered, timing, I've answered. I actually preempted your question, right? I knew the question was coming. After 2026, because people are pushing for a regime change, you have to work hard. 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 Let the Zambians decide what they want for themselves, not a small clique of people hiding behind other things. Now, let me remind citizens, who brought us debt? Who brought us debt? The same people sitting out there. Who brought Kadarism here? Who was killing people here? Right? Who dropped the economic growth to minus 2.8%? Who? So what is in them that you want them to come back so that they can amend the constitution after 2026? Yes. What is it that you want? Who removed free education? So who brought back free education? Who reintroduced meal allowances? Who is building hostels? Who is increased bursaries? Who is doing a school feeding program so that children can be fed and the attendance and the attention will be better? Who? That's what you need to deal with. Come with arguments to compete with our policies. I'm only asking here, which student who is going to school free of charge, which mother would be happy to go back to paying school fees? Let's think honestly here. Remove hatred first. Just let's talk pari passu here, police to police. We brought free education. 2.3 million kids have gone back to school. Imagine what will these children have become in 5 years' time. So you are happy to have junkies, and we're cleaning up society. What to our papa? Honestly speaking, also, thank you for your question, my dear friend. He's a good man. But those agitating for those things are exposing their true intentions. You can see they just don't want this chap, this Kachema here. Not what he's doing and his government. They just don't want the skin and the big ears Number lesa yo wapangira mayeza. Teine boy. Teine. No, I'm not joking. I'm serious. I mean, you can read what is going on. You can smell it. You can smell it. You don't have to be intelligent to smell what is going on. You can smell the coffee. Right? Next.
Thank you, Your Excellency. We take the last 3 questions. Like I promised, it would be from the ladies. Victoria, Diamond, Mwiche, Diggers, Joy, ZNBC. You can come through so that you follow each other on.
Good afternoon, Mr. President.
Afternoon.
My name is Victoria Kayeye Yambani from Diamond TV. With your permission, I have 3 questions. One on the Constitution, one on the economy, and one on something that you've not touched. May I go ahead?
The moderator is there. He's the boss.
You will ask 1 question.
Allow her maybe 2 middle grounds.
Okay, 2.
Okay. Negotiation, you see? Instead of fighting, negotiations, dialogue.
Thank you so much. My first question, Mr. President, you have already touched on it briefly, and this is on the increase of MPs from 156 to 211. The expansion comes really at a time when Zambia is currently facing serious economical pressures. And I would like to find out, has your administration conducted cost-benefit analysis, and will you make it public? My second question is, in your address, you did highlight the fact that Zambia is in the right direction, and there are quite a number of positives that we've made towards the economic recovery. When will these positives turn into real value for the people, such as the lower cost of goods and services? Thank you so much.
Good afternoon, Mr. President.
Afternoon.
My name is Mwichana Lwimba from News Diggers. I think a lot of questions have been asked, but a point of clarity. I think you mentioned that those who did violence are regrouping. The question is, are they regrouping in the UPND or in the PF? And then also, recently we have seen some wrangles in the opposition political parties, some blaming that the wrangles are being sponsored by the UPND. What is your comment on the wrangles in the opposition with regards to democracy? Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mr. President. My name is Joy Nyambe from ZNBC. I know you've touched on the issue of energy, addressing the various interventions that your government is putting in place to address the crisis. Arising from that, there is a concern among citizens on the exploitation by some businesses selling green energy products such as solar equipment. You agree with me that solar equipment is excessively high in Zambia, despite your government having zero-rated import duty on the solar equipment. What is your response to this situation? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Those are the last 3 questions we got. You may proceed to address them. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Ladies, we appreciate your questions. Victoria, more MPs, cost-benefit analysis, pressure of the economy. Yeah, I mean, the thing about delimitation has been going on. In fact, the process was started by the previous government. A report is already out, Victoria, which covered the issues you are raising here. So, but the main issue here is to look at what does the Constitution say. The Constitution says that we must review constituencies every 10 years. That's a constitutional provision. What for? To ensure that you are able to delimitate, to take account of population, 1, 2, geography, physical geography, distances, complexities of a constituent. It's in the Constitution. So, and the governments before us have done that. But look at the population has increased, and some constituencies are too large. I already touched on that. But the real study as a base was done by the previous government. I think the report came out in 2018 or 20 somewhere. 2018? 2019, I'm being told. So that answers your questions. But for us, in our government, we see more than what I've just said. We see things slightly differently, beyond what the basics is provided for. The limitation for population, for distance or geography, size. We see something else. We see an opportunity to provide equitable distribution of resources. We see that fine line. We see how big constituencies are struggling to build more schools to accommodate free education because of the size of the constituency and the population. We see the issues about water and sanitation. We see opportunities for the CDF grant element to support widows to raise chickens, to support the youth to run a workshop to produce windows, window frames, to produce door frames. We see the fine line that in some constituencies we're not delivering this money equitably. And we would like that done so that we are fair to the people who put us in office across the country. And the inequities, we also see them. Let me be blunt today. We read through the inequities, how certain regions were left behind in terms of constituencies. You see it. You don't have to be intelligent to see, right? So we want to heal those issues. We want to heal citizens not accessing skills training because the budget of that constituency is limited and the people are more. In Lundazi, in Chama, I'm giving you examples here. In Kazungula, if you go to Kazungula and look at that, in Europe it's a small country. I can go on and on. You go to, I told you Chama. One of the advantages I have, I've traveled this country for many years. And I was always figuring out that when God, through his people, gives us an opportunity to run the country, we're going to change certain things. Because we saw, we talked to people, but let me not overstretch. We see more than just delimitation. We see equity. We see an opportunity to take our children to school across the country. No matter what their circumstances, no matter who their parents are, we see an opportunity there. That's how we see this CDF. It's not more about an MP sitting, it's more about the resource allocation. Isn't it? So I hope I have answered your question there. When will the positives turn into value? Victoria, first I spent time this morning going around where we were in 2021, where we are now, just to give you a few parameters. A few parameters. Just a few. The stability in the exchange rate. I talked about businesses importing now equipment for investment. I see an opportunity, we believe. For example, before we came into office and then these reforms were put in place, the foreign reserve had plummeted to $1 billion or so. I know it doesn't make sense to some people, but it's very important. Now, it is over 5 billion. What is the meaning of this? In there sits the sense of stability that if there were no export revenues and the country needed to maintain the essential imports such as medicines, you will still be able to import medicines for 5 months, even though you did not earn anything, as opposed to 1 month of import cover. I don't want to confuse and bring in expert arguments here. But that's what it means. That assurance, Victoria, means that the Kwacha will not be vulnerable based on sentiments. Hence the stability you are seeing. What else? I talked about the jobs in Mopani, that an additional 2,000 jobs have been created. Surely, is that not a benefit you are seeing now? What other benefit? I said close to 100,000 new jobs in the public sector have been created because of our policies and reforms. Let me pose a question. It's not for you to answer. It's for the people out there. When did any government before us ever employ 30,000 teachers at one go? There is a benefit. And in my speech I said that teacher employed will look after 8 family members plus 10 extended family members. Those are the benefits already. You can go to health, you can go to medicines. When some donors pulled back on grants on medicines, health, you know what we did? We pulled money from wastage, travel, size of delegations, length of stay, and pushed it into health and increased the health budget ourselves. It means now medicines will be there. Those are benefits, madam. I probably have an idea what you are trying to see. What you are trying to see is coming gradually because, for example, when, let me not go there, when we had a drought, we had a food shortage, then we encouraged farmers to grow more, right? Then we have a bumper harvest. That's a direct benefit of the policies of this government. The irrigation, I'm talking of 500,000 hectares, with or without rain, will have food. Those are benefits. What else? Let me just pick one issue, which I think should be close to your heart and our hearts. If you are a parent of 8 children and they are going to school, they're still young, say they're 2 years apart or 1.5 years apart, they're still going to school. Before we came into office, you had to find money to pay for these school children in school. Now, that money is staying in your pocket. You had to make sure your children have enough food before they go to school. Now, they can go to school and eat at school. School feeding program. Are those not benefits? Colleagues here, are those not benefits? Already they're happening. Directly. Free education. As a monk myself, and we have a principle as a university students, where once a monk, always a monk. As a monk myself, except I'm cheating, I'm married now. Meal allowance is very important. It was removed by those who were there before us. When we came back, we reinstated it. It has a direct benefit on the performance of a student in college, because they can now go to college having eaten, in classroom, I mean. Is that not a benefit? Victoria, please, my dear sister, these are immediate benefits. You don't even have to wait. I've said quite a bit around here, because your question is very important, madam. So we are moving step by step. Remember, I was saying that we are doing things, but it's not enough. We can do more, isn't it? We can do more. Let's work together to do more. There's a lot we can do together. Maybe last example. Before we introduced reforms in agriculture, FISIP, we were giving fertilizer to people who were not farmers. We were giving seed to people who are not farmers. We've now introduced an electronic system called e-voucher, isn't it? Yes. And since we introduced it, we caught cheaters, call them anything. 215,000 people who were getting fertilizer and seed and were not farmers for many years. We were able to expose them and remove them, and then brought in new real farmers by the same number. Clear benefit. Clear benefit. Except that these benefits come in these bits and pieces in different sectors. After 2-3 years, you will begin to see a country looking totally differently where I'm sitting. I hope you are aware that our policies now have brought a joint venture where we'll be manufacturing drugs. 700 types of drugs will be manufactured close to my home there, Lusaka South Economic Zone. The construction has started already. It's our policies. Make drugs available, make them cheaper. Before, madam, this is a nice story that can go on. We were importing fertilizer at $1,300 per ton. We came up with the policy of producing fertilizer here for more jobs to lower the cost. From $1,300, we're producing fertilizer now. The price has changed from $1,300 per ton to $800 per ton. Correct me, Minister. Clear. We farmers see it. Benefit. What else? We're exporting fertilizer now to 8 countries. We were importing, we were self-sufficient, then we're exporting. More foreign exchange, more stability in the kwacha. Then you can import your milling equipment at a lower price. That's the connection. More jobs. What do they employ? How many people do they employ? United Capital Fertilizer? 8,000 people. 10,000. From 0 to 10,000. Multiplied by 8, multiplied by 10. I gave you the factor. There is no argument. The benefits are already coming. Except what you are not seeing is tantamen. That's where the problem is. Tantamen. Queue here, and then we dish cash. That's not part of our menu. What we want is to create opportunity. That's a noise that you hear. The noise is around tantamen. That is where the noise is. But they will conceal it in many ways. It's about tantamen. It's about entitlement. It's about give me cars. From where? Yes, from where? Hello, Fumakwi. Let us be a country of people willing to work. I have said let us be a country of producers, not just consumers. Let's produce something. Ka 1 acre. Ulima kangono chabe. 1 acre is enough to give you minimum for the whole year. Just 1 acre. I know what I'm talking about. I'm a farmer. 1 acre. My mother is 83, 84 years old. She refuses to sit. I give her an allowance. She says, I work for myself. Every year she sells to me for my feedlot not less than 30 steers at 83, 84 years old. She's there. She says, I don't want your allowance. I want to work. I want to die working. Because if I just sit, I'll die early. And she's shrewd. She knows the prices of steers. I try and cook her up. She says, this is the price. Let's teach our communities to work. There's pride in working. Even God wants us to work. The anger is on tantamen. That's the anger. And it comes in many ways, it's disguised in many ways. Yeah? In China, regrouping, violent people are regrouping in UPND or in PF or in TONS. My answer is simple. They are not allowed to regroup in PF or in UPND. They will not be allowed to regroup in PF or in UPND or in TONS. They will not simply be allowed, and will go very heavy on this one. Very heavy on this one. So there is no issue of where they are tolerated, madam. They are not tolerated in UPND, they are not tolerated. But the genesis of thuggery in this country is known. Where did it come from? Who was killing people in the streets? It is known. But people choose to ignore that. But this government will not allow thuggery sitting in any political party. Let me be clear. Sitting in any church. Sitting, hiding behind a church. You commit a crime, there is no church there. You are simply a citizen. The Constitution does not distinguish. You commit a crime, there's no UPND, there's no PF, there's no church, there's no ethnicity. I am very clear in my mind about this. You can't hide in the UPND and commit crimes. Let me tell you, my colleagues, corruption must be fought. And corruption is not an ethnic issue. I know what people are trying to say. Today I will tell you that. We have a DC I appointed in Isoka who store fertilizer. I think it's fertilizer or seed. You've forgotten. Fertilizer. He's in now. He's serving a sentence in. I appointed him. I appointed him. Just one example. Let me remind you. Former Minister of Foreign Affairs connives to move millions of dollars from the Minister of Finance, took it to Turkey, and then followed it on a presidential plane. Went and withdrew cash, brought it here, then he shared it. He started depositing in the bank every day for 11 or so days. Then he did a transfer to buy 2 helicopters. Your money, the money that belongs to children in school. We prosecute him. People were making noise. Oh, no, what? We did our numbers. We talked to people, say, come and give evidence here. He's been found guilty. And we are recovering that money. Better that money goes to pay meal allowances. That money goes to pay for free education. How can we say now the fight against corruption is targeting politics or ethnic groups? Can we come off some things? It's even embarrassing to talk about such a thing. And that individual did it. The court has proved. Now imagine how many cases we have not prosecuted. How much money? One individual, we recovered $30 million. No, some level of greed is frightening. $30 million. Moved it to Seychelles, moved it here and there. And the noise was that, no, there's no fight against corruption. We recovered that money. We recovered one person. We must detest corruption. Fellow citizens, I'm asking you, let us join hands to detest thieving from people. So, Madam Michelle, there is no hiding place for thuggery. And I think we are clear about that. Joy Nyambe, exploitation by traders selling solar as an example. You are spot on. We have to work hard to ensure that people are not being cheated. When we remove duties, the price of solar must come down. You are spot on. And I think we are all hearing, colleagues, let's address that issue. Having said that, Madam Joy, the price of solar has come down. Before, to invest in 1 megawatt, you needed to pay $1 million. Now, to invest in 1 megawatt, you pay less than $700,000. Technology is better, but the traders are taking advantage, some of them. I think we need to deal with that. Minister of Commerce is here, is listening. We don't coerce them, we sit down with them in a civilized way. We don't go in the streets demonstrating against them. We bring them in the room and talk to them. I've finished answering the questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Another round of applause. Thank you very much, Your Excellency. We have come to the end of the press conference. I would ask that we all stand to sing the national anthem, after which, Your Excellency, your children, the journalists, have asked that they take a group photo with you.
Happy with that.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
National anthem, please.
Pictures?
Yeah, there she is.
Oh, we are going down? Okay. All right. Thank you.
So, journalists, we can proceed outside and take position for the picture with the president.
President of the Republic of Zambia, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, there wrapping up a press conference that kicked off at 12 minutes past 10 hours in the morning, and he's been speaking to the media, through the media speaking to the citizens of the Republic of Zambia who gave him the mandate to lead this great nation. He addressed quite a number of issues cutting across various sectors of the Zambian economy. Energy sector covered, mining sector has been covered, the agriculture sector, as well as many others. Wrapping up that particular conference, he had an interaction with the members of the press that were free to ask questions, and he responded to all of the questions and adding to some of those questions in terms of his responses. Well, welcome to this one. It's a post-analysis of the presidential press conference that's just been concluded. My name is Samuel Machishi, and I'll be engaging various stakeholders that will add a voice to the press conference on the issues that have just been addressed by the president and the questions that the media did question the president to attend to. And in this case, we'll be talking to Mr. Solomon Ngoma, who is already settled with me in studio. He's Executive Director for Action Institute for Policy Analysis Center, IPAC. And we'll be crossing over to Northwestern Province, where we will engage the Northwestern Chamber of Commerce. Leader from that end. We'll also be talking to an economist, and also we expect to bring in our staff who's been on the ground following the proceedings from State House, Greba's Zulu. So it's quite a fully packed program for us, so that you can also follow through regarding some of the issues that have been raised. Allow me to welcome my first studio guest in studio, Mr. Solomon Ngoma. Good to see you, Executive Director.
Thank you very much, and it's good to be here again.
And thank you so much for coming quite on time, able to follow the press conference together in the background, chit-chatting on some of the issues that have been raised. Well, quite a handful, but then again, we'll ask you just some of the bits that you could have picked. But first and foremost, let's find out what IPAC is about, so that people can understand as you even give comments to some of the questions and the concerns raised.
Okay, so Acton Institute for Policy Analysis Center, IPAC, is an organization, a think tank. We focus on policy advocacy, and we do a lot of research, and also publicize a lot of in terms of research findings. So we focus much on governance and constitutionalism, and also touch a bit on the economy.
Governance, let's start at that. What are some of the key takeaways maybe that you would want to bring to the fore from what the president has addressed?
So from the president, we're very happy that the president has kept his tone, and he has maintained his stance on issues to do with governance. That governance is in a democratic society, a functioning democratic country like Zambia, we should be able to behave in an ordinary manner. We saw where we're coming from in a background where, to give example, where we saw cadres almost took over the country, where you're coming from airport, you have to pave way for cadres for them to pass. The country became unruly. And with His Excellency being elected on 21 elections, the 2021 general elections, President Hichilema emphasized to say he will not tolerate Kadarism, and we are happy that today the president has tackled about that, addressing the white elephant in the room, the Sagari. We saw last week, a few weeks, where cadres marched in town trying to bring back that Kadarism. Our view have always been clear as an institution to say a Sagari behavior, criminals always want to hide behind a political party to commit crimes in the name of a political party, which is not supposed to be the case. And I'm happy that the president has emphasized. Now, our concern has always been very clear to say the president has made his stance very clear. It is up to the Zambia police now to make sure that they implement and able to bring to book individuals that are causing unnecessary behavior and Sagari behavior. Even the issues of this the white elephant again to about junkies. These are innocent children that they can be used by some politicians trying to cause confusion. And we're happy that the president has maintained to say that either in UPND or in opposition, Sagari behavior will not be allowed and tolerated. For us, it shows to say that the country is going in the right direction, because no investor can want to come to invest in a country that is disorderly, where there's no security, where the governance is ungovernable. We're also happy in the sense that over the last 4 years, the UPND administration has done a number in terms of bills and reforms that have taken place. For example, the National Anti-Corruption Policy, which was launched by the president. The fight against corruption, we have seen some recovery of stolen assets. We have seen the establishment of the Economic Crimes Court. So for us, these are some of the advocates that we have been advocating, and we're happy that the president and this government have been listening and also engaging. One thing that we appreciate from the European administration is that the open door policy of State House, where, as the president emphasized to say, IPAC was part of those 50 civil society organizations that met the president. And we gave our own views and our own conditions, and not solid conditions, but our own perspective on how things should be run, or how we believe a constitution can be amended. And with various stakeholders out there, we all agreed to say there must be an independent committee.
I'll be coming back to ask you more questions as regards how you, the 30 of you groupings that the president did refer to, that you walked into State House, presented your concerns, and he listened by talking to his members to say, okay, let's hold on to it, and then you gathered yourselves and then you move together in that manner, and he's calling for the same for those that may have other concerns regarding the constitutional amendments, as it were, to come into State House and have a dialogue. For now, let me bring in the House House of Chiefs representative, and this is His Royal Highness Chief Chongo. He joins us via phone so that he could just add to the press conference that the president has just concluded. Your Highness, good afternoon. Thank you so much for finding time to join us and give a reaction to what the president has just addressed the media as well as the nation. What are some of your takeaways, especially when the president dwells so much on making sure that political violence should never see the light of day in the country again?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. As chairperson of the House of Chiefs of Zambia, I'm very happy to be given this opportunity to say something regarding the just ended press conference by His Excellency Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, the President of Zambia. First and foremost, I can say it has been a well-articulated press conference. We are happy that the President made a lot of statements and answered a lot of questions that would have been lingering in the minds of us, the people of Zambia. For example, the President emphasized the need for all of us to have one agenda. When I mean all of us, you are talking about the government, traditional leaders, the church, civil society organizations, the corporate world, anybody, everybody. We should have one agenda to make sure that we want to have a better Zambia. That is our common agenda. We should strive, all of us, to have a better Zambia. We should have the agenda of making sure that someone somewhere there benefits from our leadership, benefits from our work. I think that is was very, very critical to me. And the president also talked of the issue of mining areas to be safe areas. I think that one is very important. We do not want mining areas to be like war zones where there are some militia groups from any circle. No, I think those mining areas must be good areas where people can be allowed to do their mining in a safe environment. Not where we have militia groups in the mining areas, no. I think we are happy that the president has mentioned that from the word go. Because it's very possible that some militia groups can arise from such areas because of the monies that are found in those areas.
Your Highness, what has been noted, obviously, over the years by politicians, and the president has emphasized this, is that certain groupings or certain people may hide and then use the young people to be in the forefront, to advocate for violence, for instance, and any other negative vices of that nature. As traditional leaders, you obviously have a significant role to play in those chiefdoms, because most of these mining areas are domiciled in your chiefdoms. What role then do these traditional leaders, your traditional leaders, who you represent as chairperson of the House of Chiefs, have to ensure that there's peace regardless of what is happening?
Thank you so much. A very, very correct observation. Most of these upcoming mines are domiciled in our areas. So our urge, especially to government, is that when they come in these areas, we are asking government and all the other mining owners, all license holders, that they must work closely with the chief. Why am I saying so? You find that many people who cause problems in those so-called upcoming mining areas, they might not be people that come from the particular chiefdom. They are people who just move around. That's why I've said we are happy that the government has said there will be no militia groups. It means immediately a mining site has been established as a mining center. We are urging government to quickly come and provide security in conjunction with the chief. I think we as chiefs are better placed to effect our bylaws. We have bylaws in our chiefdoms that we govern our chiefdom. We use our bylaws. But when we have people who are coming who are not naturally domiciled in our areas, then we need the cooperation of all relevant government ministries so that those areas can remain fair.
Your Highness, thank you so much for according us an opportunity to get your reaction regarding the presidential press conference that's just ended.
Anyway, my last comment would be on those same militia groups. Of late, we have seen that there is some coming back of a form of cadreism. A very sad instance that happened in Chiwempala and other places of late. I think as House of Chiefs, we strongly condemn any form of violence. Cadreism must not have its place back in the Zambian politics. We are no longer fighting for independence. Cadreism can be used when you are doing a political independence. We are now fighting economic independence, which does not need cadreism. It just needs organized working together. We are happy that the government has given free education. So we expect all the children who are of school-going age to be in schools. And we don't expect them to be used by any organization, whether being traditional, church, political, or whoever, to distract the children or the students from their academic efforts. I think that is a strong word that we are saying. We condemn any form of violence, whether it be perpetrated by the opposition, whether it is perpetrated by the ruling party or the church or whoever. We are saying, let us live in harmony, in peace. Let's have one mind and the mind of developing Zambia for all the Zambians, all Zambians, regardless of which region they are coming from. I think that is our position as House of Chiefs. I thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Your Highness. And that is Royal Highness Chief Chongo, the House of Chiefs chairperson representing the over 288 of their Royal Highnesses across the country. We'll be bringing in the Northwestern Province Chamber of Commerce Industry, Mr. Amos Kapi, who is going to also give his reaction from what the President has just given to the nation. Sir, thank you so much also for joining us. Yours is, I can imagine, you were following keenly, especially when he zeroed in on issues to do with mining areas, because Northwestern Province cannot be divorced from the mining discussions now, because that is where now a lot of mining activities are happening. Ask you to first and foremost just give your take before we zero into other questions.
Okay, thank you so much, Samuel, and thank you so much for giving Northwestern Chamber of Commerce to add its voice to the so many issues that the President brought about during his press conference. Maybe just a little bit about Northwestern Chamber of Commerce. We are a private-led institution or organization representing various businesses. We speak and lobby for a favorable business environment for them from both the public and the private sector. If you can allow me to also speak a little bit about the President did make a call for us as Zambians to be united and speak one voice. And he reaffirmed us the government's commitment, that of hard working to ensure that the government better the living of its Zambians who are us or citizens. So when we talk of violence, violence has got no place in society. As a business-led entity, we know that all businesses are set up and operate in communities. So violence, for us, it's a no. We embrace the call for dialogue, just like the President alluded to. We are living at a time where it's very sad, to be honest with you. Some people just feel like, dialogue has got a time limit. It has got an expiry date. Dialogue can come at any time, regardless of the situation. What is important is to bring issues that are affecting us on the table and be able to resolve them amicably.
Great. Let me take you now to the areas of your expertise, the mining sector, where the President has itemized quite a number, one of which is the local content bill. It did come up there. The President also mentioned the reawakening of the mining sector in the country, mentioning Shaft 28 in Luansha that was almost dead, Mopani, KCM, and all these big mines, Kitumba, Kalengwa. Maybe let me have a comment on this one, and then we go to the local content bill.
So the resumption of important mines on the copper belt, the Mopani, the Shaft 28 in Luansha, those are key strides that the government has made in the recent past. Why I say so on behalf of the chamber is that, when you revamp a mine or you resume a mine that was not operating, what that entails is that, number one, you are creating employment opportunities for the people in that mining area, which at the end of the day trickles down to better the lives of the people that live in that particular community. Secondly, you're talking about increasing the GDP for the GDP for the nation. So such cause and initiative from the government, for us it's a plus, because then we know that more contractors and suppliers are going to take part in the activities that are being undertaken by those mines. So it's a positive call, it's a positive stride on the part of the chamber and the business community. And we encourage the government to do more of such investments. And if there are any mines that are still need to be revamped, we call upon the government to keep on the same trajectory and ensure that those mines are brought back to operation.
There are concerns that the President did raise, especially when it comes to contractual obligations and supply of goods as demanded by some of the mining. And you may have a say on this one, because where you are, you have a lot of mining entities in there. What is the chamber in that area doing to ensure that such lapses in terms of supply, contractual obligations being met are concerned?
Those are right. Those have been complex for the mines, and as a chamber, we're aware about that, and I've put up interventions to ensure that our suppliers and contractors are well equipped and are ready to do business with the mine and provide or supply the right goods and quantities the mine that may require from them, and at the right price. What the chamber has been doing in the recent past is that we've been conducting, the capacity building workshops to ensure that our contractors and suppliers are capacity enough to ensure that they understand what the mine requires. Recently, if you are aware, the chamber just held an investment expo where we brought in the mine supplier, supply value chain suppliers and contractors, and we brought about the experts from the mines to come and explain to the contractors and suppliers on what they are expected as they supply or as they do good business with the mine.
Let's have your take on the pronouncement of the local content bill.
The local content bill, or SI 68, has been the baby of the chamber. We've been, requesting the government to ensure that that law is enacted. And we're happy that the government heard our call and it was signed into law. And this has brought a lot of excitement for most of the businesses around the mining area and the community around Solwezi, in particular, or Northwestern. What that SIU and I knows means, it will ensure that most of the suppliers and contractors will be able to take part in the mine supply value chain. Especially on the non-mine core goods and services, which are a preserve entirely for the Zambians to undertake. So that has really brought a lot of excitement, and we are glad that the mine has really opened up, and I've had engagements with them, and so far so good. We seem not to have a problem with the mine. It's a law that I think they expected to be enacted. So where we are now, I can safely say that we'll see most of the Zambian businessmen and women, suppliers and contractors, be able to do business with the mine with ease.
Lastly, as I let you go, your take as a chamber, which is domiciled in an area where mining activities are going on the other side, the fears of illegal miners. because they are taking advantage of, the minerals being discovered in those areas. The president says formalize yourself so that mining can be done in a very well-structured manner. He cited to about well over 1,600 that the Minister of Mines did agree to as some of the artisanal mining licenses that have been given to those that are now being trained so that they can mine appropriately and properly without fears of security. In your area, how is this panning out, and what would be your desire to ensure that the call by the head of state to formalize is heeded?
The call has been received with a very, very overwhelming response from, the miners that are involved, or that were recently involved in what is termed as illegal mining. And what I would want to do at the moment is commend the government for that initiative. We also advocate for safe mining activities, and as a chamber, we've partnered with the Small Miners Association to ensure that safe mining trainings for those that are involved in artisanal mining are actualized. Recently, the government had conducted a training together with the Chamber of Commerce, and I think over 120 miners were issued with valid mining licenses on safe mining practices. So yes, the government together with the private sector, there's a lot that is being done to ensure that people are well informed on the dangers of unsafe mining and the benefits of engaging in safe mining activities. So that is well taken care of, and we are happy that people that were involved in what is specific to illegal mining have received that move positively.
Amos Kapi, Chamber of Commerce for Northwestern Province, is the president there, and he's given his reaction to the presidential press conference, and he's about making sure that the Chamber of Commerce gets to follow the the directives and some of the pronouncements that the president has pronounced. We have in studio Mr. Solomon Ngoma, who is still with us. These concerns really do rub on positive or negative effects on the Zambian economy. The president was earlier giving an example to say in one of the countries, just a little bit of some protest at a port saw a drastic reduction of business activities there. I want you to just maybe emphasize, most of the Zambian people, the Zambian entities may not take it like it's a serious issue when you have conflict in certain business sectors and it would affect the economy.
You see, violence, the way it is, violence, and because when people do protest, you have to bear in mind that not everybody share the same mentality of trying to do peaceful demonstrations. Criminals take advantage and begin to do criminal elements, stealing, looting shops, and now if those shops are looted or those companies are looted, who would want to come and invest in such a country? There's no one, because when you look at what the president is talking about, we have seen what has happened in our brothers from Tanzania, where the protest took place. You feel that if the ships could not even deliver what was supposed to deliver. Many countries have been affected by what has been stocked to sea. So violence is very bad because it kills the very foundations, the gains that as a country you have made in terms of economic gains, you talked about the job creation. Because at the end of the day, there's no investor who would want to come and open a factory in a town or in a province where there's violence, where the crime is very high, where there's saggard behavior. There's no investor who would want to invest in such a province. So the president is on the right trajectory to say we should not entertain and encourage violence, because violence itself, because he gave an example. I'll give you an example. Violence always involves two grouping people. It's like in a football match. You have the opposing, you have those the other side and the other side. Automatically, there's no way the other side would watch the other team members being beaten. They would want to defend themselves. In the process, you create unnecessary conflict. But as two leaders of that particular team, you can bring together on round table to say, what are our differences? This is our difference can bring. So for us, we believe at IPAC, we're very clear to say that violence should not have loom. Political saggary, whether junkies, whether somebody lying, whether in the mining sector, whether people doing illegal mining activities, we are of the view that that should not be encouraged. Because I'll give example in countries like Central African Republic. It is because of illegal mining activities that set the country ablaze, and today the Central African Republic is still at war with vested interest, because at the end of the day there are people always behind who are not even origin of that country. But because they've got the money, they're able to put in the money, put in weapons, say there are minerals in it. And that's why Zambia has to safeguard its discovery of minerals. And that's why we are in support yesterday when we saw in the news diggers where the Minister of Mines was quoted to say the government was in the process of deploying the military. IPAC has been very clear from day one to say that we must deal with these illegal mining activities, because these illegal mining activities, that once they have the monies, they can even procure guns, and we can become even having a necessary militia. We saw how if people can throw stones on the president, what could have happened if those people had weapons on them?
And it's a good thing the president says that he exercised restraint, because if it were in other countries or any other individual, they would have given a clear direction, because under such security arrangements, it is not allowed for one to even throw a stone at the head of state. Let me just take you to State House, because it is there that our staffer Gervasio has been on the ground, being part of the press conference, hearing it right from the ground. Gervasio, thank you so much for joining us. And maybe let's start by you giving us just a general context as you were following the conversation and as the press conference was going on.
Thank you so much, Sam. We're going to take our floor. The president has just concluded the press conference. He raised a number of issues, but basically touching on three key themes.
And he's spoken about debt restructuring, he's spoken about mining, he's spoken about agriculture as well as energy. He's also touched on the issue of the rule of law, and in here has looked at the constitution and violence. But before I do much analysis on the speech, I have with me, I've been joined by a veteran politician, former ambassador, he's a former member of parliament, has worked as a minister, and is now a member of the National Management Committee of the UPND, Ambassador Mlondo Mzungu. Ambassador, thank you for joining me.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now, Ambassador, I wanted you to look at the issues that the president has raised. One of them is the constitution. The other one is mining. But I want you to start with the constitution. He did try to touch on the history of the amendment of the constitution and try to explain and justify why the constitution should be amended. What is your view?
Thank you so much. The constitution should be amended, and in this country every government that has come into power has made efforts to amend the constitution. The constitution must be amended because circumstances change in life, circumstances change in any country. And so in response to the changes, the constitution of the country needs to be changed, especially when they are changing political circumstances, political needs, and so on. You cannot remain stuck with the same constitution. You need it to change. I remember vividly that in 1991, just before the country went into the pause, there was the Mvunga constitutional process. Professor Mvunga was the chairman of that constitutional change process. And from UNIP, General Chinkuri, Rapson Chongo, and myself were representatives. We went to make submissions to that constitution. I know that in 1996, under the MMD government, there was another constitutional process, and I think it was they called it Mungomba Commission. People in the country were invited to make submissions in 1991 under the Mvunga Commission. But the same happened also in 1996 under the Mungomba Commission. And this has been the trend in the country. Yes, that in response to changing circumstances, there will be constitutional changes. And hence now, there is need for such changes. As the President was saying, you know that some constituencies are smaller and they enjoy administrative economies. Others are too vast and they do not benefit anything from administrative economic benefits. They have no economic benefits because they have to manage a vast area of a district or constituency, and they are overstretched. So in order to bring those areas onto the same level as others that enjoy from administrative economies, it is better that they are also made smaller, brought to the same size as the others. So we have had these changes.
Constitutional reviews over the years.
Constitutional reviews. This is not the first time we are having it. The president seeing that certain areas, because of their vastness, are not benefiting from the development that is taking place in the country because they are too large. He wants to ensure that every area, every district, every constituency, so too large, is brought to a level where they will benefit from
national resources. I want you to close by looking at the issue of mining. I know you've been involved, particularly with Kalengwa mine, where the president has spoken about how mines have been revived and how much investment is coming in there.
The president is dead right. Mining in this country has been dying. So many mines in our country were defunct. But because the president came in with a policy of revamping the mines have been revamped. And the benefits, of course, as you know, the benefits are there in terms of increased jobs. The benefits are there in benefits of increased revenue to the coffers of the country. The benefits are there in terms of businesses, mushrooming of businesses and so on. Yeah. So really, the president is dead right, and he needs the support of everybody in revamping the mines. Kalengwa was dead for over 40 years because of wonderful policies by the president. Kalengwa is now up and running. It has some promoters, Moxco, Kalengwa Mines, went into partnership with Euro Africa Kalengwa Mines, and the two are working together to ensure that Kalengwa once again becomes productive, that it is an important contributor to the national coffers, that it is an important contributor to the generation of jobs for young people in our country. So we actually all we need is to support the programs of the president to ensure that they bring us these benefits.
Ambassador, thank you so much for your time.
We are most grateful.
Thank you. So, Sam, that was Ambassador Mlonde Muzungu talking about, reflecting on some of the points that the President has raised at the press conference.
It's good to note that the ambassador has also given a bit of some background regarding some of these amendments that have come into picture. The president did spend some time to also add to that particular context. But other than that, you earlier on had spoken about some of the challenges that the president brought about in terms of the economy. He mentions of the energy 2024 getting into this year that brought about the food insecurities and things like that. Are you able to amplify on some of the positives that the economy has made through this period that the president has been in power together with his government from what he gave?
Well, Sam, the president did take the nation and all of us back into a journey from where he started, and he highlighted very key and important achievements that his administration has achieved. One of them that he urged the nation to celebrate was the announcement 2 days ago in which the country has been lifted from the debt default status, meaning the country now is able to attract enough investment, and meaning now that the country is almost there in terms of restructuring the debt. If you remember, this has been a long journey, and the government and the president have been on it for over 4 years since they took office. You remember 2020, Zambia became the first African country to default post-COVID-19. And after that, we had to be placed into a default status. But after 4 years and after a lot of work in terms of restructuring the debt, the country now has been lifted from the debt default status. And the president did indicate that this has been done by independent assessors, meaning the status of the country now is raised. So that's one of the positives that the president came out with. And the mining aspect, he did raise a number of issues, and he, going by his words, numbers do not lie. So when you look at the investment in the mining sector, you're talking of over $5 billion going into the mines. He's spoken about the super pit at Lumwana, which is about 2.3 billion investment there. You're talking about S3 expansion at Kansanshi, over 1.3 billion. We're talking of 100 million being invested in dewatering 28 shaft in Luansha. All that is in the mining sector. And when he speaks of the mining sector, he raised one important issue, that the trickle-down effect has started, and government has managed to legislate benefits that should go down to people, and this is through the local content bill, which will immediately bring in about $200 million to local suppliers, and moving forward it may go to $400 million. So these are some of the benefits that the president touched on when he spoke about the mines. But he also spoke about energy, and for energy he started first by acknowledging the problem, but also outlined some of the issues that are being taken by the government. One of them is this novel idea of where each constituency in the country will have a 2 megawatts solar power plant, and this is going to help especially small districts like Nyimba, which he mentioned, which only consumes 1.5 megawatts, meaning they would never have load shedding, and councils will be able to benefit from the money that's coming from there. He's indicated that already there's a 20-year power purchase agreement for each power plant that will be developed under this, and ZESCO will take up that power.
Gravazo, thank you so much for giving us at least an understanding of some of the key pronouncements that the president has made during the press conference. It's quite bulky. We'll try to engage others in studio and via phone so that we can further the conversation. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sam.
Great. In studio, Mr. Ngoma still with me. The president mentioned of one thing that I took note of, that the country now has been turned into a meeting place for investments from all over the world. He did mention to the fact that we've seen Americans, for instance, the British, the Chinese, and others develop interest to come and invest in the country as they do have these meetings. And significantly so, we've seen a lot of meetings being held from the Mlongoshi International Conference Center, one of the facilities that the African continent now gets to boast of as a venue for such meetings. Your reaction as think tanks?
You know, you recall that to say that the Zambia became the first country to refund in terms of the loans, the Eurobond that we had gotten, and under that status, there's no investor that was willing to come and invest in such a country. And the first thing that the government did was to engage the IMF, because IMF look like it's, you know, when you are sick as a patient, you need a doctor, and for us the IMF was more like a doctor for us. And over the last 4 years, the IMF and the government of Zambia have been engaging and in terms to see how best we help in terms to address the debt restructuring, and which we have achieved as a country. And you recently, is it 2 days ago, or is it yesterday, we saw the G20 declaring and clearing Zambia and recognizing Zambia to say Zambia has managed to stabilize its policies. So for us, it's a good thing that the policies that the government has been putting in place with engaging various stakeholders, consultations with the private sector, with the civil society organizations, it shows to say that this country is in the right direction. Because governing a country, we don't govern because there's a ruling part, no, I don't know. It is all stakeholders must be consulted. Their contribution should be taken serious. And in this case, we are happy to say that the investment opportunities, and even that's the meetings, the visitations, the memorandum of understanding that have been signed, puts Zambia in a position where in the next 2 years or 3 years, this country is able to see, will be able to address the issues to do with the issue of unemployment. We'll be able to see how infrastructure-wise as a country we'll be able to improve. So we are, the view of ourselves is that I'm happy that the president did talk about that, acknowledging the mistake, to say the challenge that we have at the moment is the load shedding.
Great. We'll be coming back to Mr. Ngoma, who is with me in studio. For now, allow me to bring in an economist, Matthew Muyembe, from Kitwe, so that he could zero in on some of those. We'll be reconnecting with him in just a short while, so that he can give us an economic analysis of what the president has mentioned. Some of the indications that the president has spoken to in terms of economic growth in recent past, a drop in inflation rates, that itself speaks to how government has been working hard. He also did mention of the fact that there's a lot of hard work that's been put in place to ensure that there's investments into the energy sector to diversify the energy mix, so that people can begin to have a lot of options for the energy sector. Let me get back to you as we reconnect with Mr. Muyembe. The call by the president that he's open. His government is open for negotiations, for engagements, and in this case, for example, on this matter that involves the constitutional amendments, how then can these groupings that may have a concern have, take advantage of this? Hang on to that. Let me bring in my guest on phone. You'll come and respond to it after we are done with The Economist. So thank you so much for joining us. Please kindly zero in to some of the discussions that the president brought to the fore, especially with the drop of inflation and some of the significant strides that the president has made and his government have made to ensure that there's improvement for the better of the people of Zambia.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. I believe you didn't hear my question. We wanted to just have your analysis of what the president has given, especially pointing to the positives that the economy has made so far.
Oh, yes. Actually, the president touched quite a number of very important issues with regards to the interventions that government has made for us to achieve not only the 3 million tons projected in mining, but also by 2030, the Agenda 2030, for us to achieve a prosperous middle-income country. So first and foremost, I think one of the significant issues that has been an issue even in the distant past has been the issue of debt. We saw how Zambia, in terms of rating, we were rated as we were SD, which was selected default. We were a very high economy, and we saw capital flights. Then we also saw negative growth of -2.4. But then also we've seen in the last 4 years how our economy has turned down. We're seeing, like right now, by 2025, the projection, even by IMF, though revised but still we will be around 5.2%. That's what we expect in terms of economic growth. So having said this, what the current regime did was to address the issue of our debt. And I think we remember when the new dawn came into office, the issue was to try and see, they applied for debt treatment, that is under the G20 common framework for debt treatment. So coming forward, right now what we have seen is 90% of our external public debt restructured in principle, and I think satisfied that, with only a small part of the debt remaining, which is obviously has to do more with the commercial loan. Now, in view of this milestone, at the same time we have seen what we call long-term foreign currency credit rating agencies such as Standard & Poor's, Fitch, and Moody's rate Zambia or review their rating about our economy. As at the 21st of November, recently, so Standard & Poor's raised Zambia as triple C plus. Now, this in itself is quite significant in that if you look at sovereign wealth funds, we've got pension funds and other investors, they are really very averse when it comes to issues of risk, and they look at jurisdictions where they can invest their money and get a guaranteed return. So now what we have seen is, if you look at the recent 2-3 weeks, if not 2 months, we've seen visits from the Middle East, from the UK, from the US, from China, from these leading economies where big investors, everyone's desirous to invest in Zambia. Because now, because of this credit rating that we have, we see a multiple benefit. First and foremost, what's key to note is that because of this, it moves us now, it ends our debt period. Zambia has been known to be in default for more than 5 years. Now, with the work of this ends now with this significant announcement by Standard & Poor's, and it makes us credit worthy. It opens up us as a jurisdiction, and then also it reduces the risk in terms of, if you look at the premiums on risk, Zambia was so high that us borrowing became a challenge. But now it's open, considering that all the fundamentals equal and continue to improve, riding obviously on the current price of copper. It changes the outlook for Zambia. It reduces our borrowing costs. Obviously now we still have repayments which are high, but then honestly subject to what we have now, there'll be a significant improvement because what we also see is more inflows in terms of foreign direct investment. The more investments that we're going to get, we're going to now have more forex.
Mr. Muyambe, I would like to thank you so much for giving us quite a good perspective and analysis of where we are coming from and where we are, and obviously projecting in the future as you were reacting to the President's press conference on economic side. I'll be getting back to Gravazio, who is at State House, for another interview from that end before I can wind up with Mr. Solomon Ngoma in studio. Remember, this program is just about giving a reaction to the press conference that the President of the Republic of Zambia, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, has held today, the 25th of November 2025. It touched on quite a number of issues, that are so significant to the well-being of the Zambian economy, the Zambian citizens, and also driving the agenda of hard work and unity. In fact, he gave it a mission. He mentioned that the mission is a single kind of a mission, single-minded mission to work hard, to work smart for one agenda, which is offer opportunities and also create opportunities for the Zambian, to improve the Zambian people's lives. That's the mission that the President spoke about, that every Zambian must work towards. I'll be getting back to Gravazio just so he can give us another interview, short interview, before we could wrap it up, because it's been quite a press conference that begs for a lot of explanation and a lot of asking to experts for them to be able to break it down for us. Gravazio, kindly give us what's latest, and let's hear from another expert.
Well, Well, thank you so much, Sam. Pushing the discussion further and forward, the President did raise two major issues under the rule of law. This is the issue of violence, where he declared that there should be no return to thuggery. He also spoke about the Constitution and guided against protests. Right now, I'm joined by Mr. Frank Bwalia, who is a member of the Presidential Support Team, media team. Mr. Bwalia, thank you so much.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure.
Your key takeaways from the two themes that I've mentioned.
Yeah, first and foremost, I think that the President emphasized on what Zambia stands to lose if we allowed violence, hooliganism, cadreism to resurface in public spaces. That is what Zambia stands to lose, is in terms of the confidence of investors in this country, including local investment. And therefore, he explained a lot of achievements that have been done in terms of fixing the economy, particularly focusing on the mining sector. That, for me, is key. So instead of just saying violence will not be allowed, violence is evil, and so on, the President tried to make the country see what it stands to lose if violence was allowed to resurface in public spaces.
He also mentioned something about the Constitution and guided that dialogue should be the best way forward.
Yes, the members have got a saying among the many rich sayings that they have, that ukubokobapota ukumine, meaning that you only twist a stiff hand. So the President is projecting himself as somebody whose hand is not stiff, somebody whose door is open for you to go in and dialogue. So again, the President emphasized dialogue, but the President is very bold to say certain things need to be done, such as delimitation, because it's not just the desire of this government or the desire of the people. It is something that is also in the Constitution, that after every 10 years you have to evaluate the size of the every constituency in terms of population, in terms of the geographical size, and the challenges that members of parliament may be facing to represent the people. The President went further to say that UPND has an interest here because we have increased CDF, and there are certain constituencies which are too big, even in terms of population, who are getting the same money. But if, according to the report by ECZ and in line with the Constitution, such constituencies should be cut into 2, maybe 3, I'm not too sure, then there will be equitable distribution of the national cake, and we can see more development in those areas as well.
Mr. Bwalia, thank you so much for your time.
Pleasure.
Well, Sam, we'll have to go. From here, we've exhausted our guests, but of course the discussion continues on our other platforms as ZMBC and other programs.
Absolutely. So thank you so much, Gwevazio, and my studio guest will simply add up to what you've just concluded on. Earlier on, Mr. Ngoma asked you that question before we went on to speak to an economist, to say that what advantage does the pronouncement by the President that he's open for dialogue, what opportunity does this present to all those concerned?
No, I think we need to be realistic as a country, where in the sense that it's sad that some of our colleagues, our brother sister, have taken a position where either they want to mislead the public or not tell the public the truth. On 25 June, the President this year met the civil society organizations, including the very people that are opposing today on this constitutional amendment. And the President, we made our submissions to say we don't agree in the manner that the Honorable Minister of Justice is going around the country. This is not how we amend the Constitution, Mr. President. And Mr. President listened to us and said, okay, we hear you, our partners, and he directed the Minister of Justice to defer the bill to the next sitting of Parliament, because that was what we all agreed, and Laz was in those meetings. The church mother bodies on those meetings, and the President said, okay, how do I appoint a committee? It's the committee came from the advice came from the very same stakeholders, So that's why when we say dialogue, the President showed willingness to listen to us, to say, do we agree to say we have problems? What is important to agree as a country is that we must agree to say that the current constitution that we have is a very good constitution, but it has got lacunas that needs to be perfected in order to promote our democracy, because a constitution is not a Bible. A constitution can be changed depending on the economy, depending on the population of the country, on the needs of the people. And the President calling for dialogue, it shows to say he's willing to listen to those that were different opposed. What are their views? And for them, we would encourage them ourselves to say, please go and meet the President. Go and sit down on a round table, and like calling for protest. Because when you call for protest, it is ceased to be a noble call. It seems to become a political call. And anybody who takes a political stance, you will not be taken serious. But when you take a noble call, you'll be taken serious by various stakeholders, including the president. Okay, these are your concerns. What are the concerns? Because we raised our concerns, and the concerns were addressed. The technical committee was appointed in line with the Article 92 of the Constitution of Zambia. And people have been, and to our surprise, even as IPAC, we were shocked to say we thought that this process would be reformed, but we were shocked that in all the 10 provinces, people turned out in large numbers, making submissions. And that's why IPAC is part of the organizations that have appealed in the Constitutional Court to be joined in that case of OASIS. So we want to start, because our people made submissions, and we want to understand, to say we're an interested part when it comes to the constitutional making process. Right. And that's why I want to ask the court to say, no, you cannot just hear one side. We also want to hear our story.
Mr. Ngoma, thank you so much for being a part of this reaction.
Thank you very much.
The post-analysis of the presidential conference that was held by Mr. President Hakainde Hichilema at State House today, the 25th of November 2025, earlier in the morning. Thank you to all the people that were part of this analysis, including those that came via Zoom, via phone, and also Greva Zulu holding it down for us at State House. My name is Samuel Machishi. Thank you so much for being a part of it. Keep watching the Public Service Broadcast.
ZNBC is the heartbeat of Zambia's cultural heritage, bringing you traditional music, stories, and customs that connects us to our past and inspire our future. Thanks to your TV.
In every path, there is a leader. Now, you know why we are TV1, just for you.
Your perfect start to the day. Quarter Good Morning Zambia. Every Saturdays on ZNBC TV1.
Yo, you made it up.
Radio 1 is the ultimate representation of both the nation as a whole and its internal diversity.